Hey everyone, welcome to Snarf Talk with Chris.
And Jerry.
And this is our podcast where we give you a behind-the-scenes look as we create a comic book.
We're going to talk about TV, movies, comic books, and hopefully have a lot of guests, other writers, creators, and friends.
Check us out at snarfcomics.com. You can check out our blog and follow along with everything we got going on. Also, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Snarf Comics. And please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes.
Enjoy the episode. Yowza.
That is some good theme music.
Yeah, I like it.
Pretty exciting.
Welcome to another wet and wild rendition of Snarf Talk.
What?
I'm Jerry Snyder. It's wet and wild because it's been raining for 2 days.
It is. It's basically like as you drive in your driveway, you just feel your truck sink down into it.
Yes,
The
absolutely.
slush.
The muck and the mire.
The muckety muck.
We're not getting into that because that's it's rhymable. You know what I mean?
Anyway,
Adult content.
it's welcome back to the Snarf Talk podcast emporium and studio and writing emporium.
Studio and writing emporium.
Hey,
bruh.
I feel like we've gotten some pretty good feedback on the old top 20 movies podcast.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. How many times over the last week have you thought of a movie and been like, damn it?
Oh, probably, I don't know, 19
Yeah.
out of 20.
So that wasn't a
So
definitive
many.
list.
No, we'll have to do that again.
We'll revisit it.
Also, public apology for my intoxication that happened. It's very noticeable and embarrassing.
I don't
It's
think
not
a public apology is
professional.
required now that you
It's
brought it
not.
up. Now people are going to go back and listen.
Yeah, and laugh at me, and it's
It's not-
embarrassing.
it was fun.
And I'm going to apologize because it's not professional.
What do you think about the super secret bonus?
Oh, that I think should happen all the time.
Has anybody contacted you that didn't know about it that just found it?
No, actually, nobody has.
A couple people have for me, but I think most people didn't listen through the end credits.
Yeah, wait, maybe somebody did. I think maybe one person. I think one person did.
A whole bunch of people
other
are
than
like
that,
two
no.
podcasts back.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
get a lot of people saying that,
Yeah,
which is fine. Totally cool.
sure.
We're
That's
going to
how
try
I am.
and keep ahead of you.
Yeah.
I'm about 25 back on Joe Rogan, so
Oh, yeah. You got to have days in order to listen to one episode.
yeah, it's kind of like this.
Because the Alex Jones episode of his was like 4 hours and 40 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just listened to the other day. I had a long drive, so I listened to Sam Harris.
Sam Harris. I don't know if I heard that one.
Yeah, it was
I'm sure I did.
pretty new. It was good. It was a good one.
I skip around a lot with him.
Yeah,
I just skip
me too.
around on things that
If
I
I'm
like.
interested in a guest.
They had a really good one with the whole Twitter people. Everyone in Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they it was this I can't say her name because it was pronounced wrong probably 15 times on the podcast. And then so it was like the president or CEO and then the president and CEO of public relations and whatnot of Twitter. And then this journalist his name was Tim Pool, I remember his name, and Joe Rogan. So apparently there was like a bunch of backlash because he had those people on once before, and his viewership and fans didn't think he like pressed them hard enough.
Okay, yeah, I heard that's what he was talking about on Sam Harris.
Yeah, because they're talking like apparently they're saying
Blocking
like,
people, censoring
Twitter has
people.
like a super liberal like ideology, and they're doing it on purpose because of that. And like this Tim Pool guy came with.
Well, it's
he
pretty much a
came-
fact. I mean, they're
But they deny it, of
Well,
course.
of course.
And Tim Pool came with a lot of facts. I mean, he was ready to play the game, and he definitely played the game. But he just presented better facts than they did, and they didn't like it. But it was a good podcast. It was it's good to listen to. And whatever way you fall on that card, I don't care. But it was a good podcast.
So, what's new in the life of the Snarf? The Snarf.
The Snarf realm,
Yeah.
T-ball, baseball.
Yeah, we have Snarf Comics.
Yep.
Snarf / Snarf Talk T-ball team.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing that's happening.
And it's going to be red instead of blue and white, but that's okay.
Well,
that's all right.
We got some red in our logo.
Do we have a little bit of red in there? Yeah, I have a little bit of red.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coached by, supported by.
Yours truly.
And yours truly.
Yeah, you're the other yours truly.
Snarf.
Yeah.
It's the Snarf team.
It is. It's going to be the Snarf team, and we're going to snarf it out of the park.
Yeah. We're definitely going to win the championship.
All of it. It's like I don't even think this is even.
There's like 2 kindergartners on the team, and the rest are
all preschoolers. It's a super, super young team. It'll be interesting this year for sure. But
there's going to be some young bucks coming up, some talent.
Mm-hmm. We definitely got a lot coming out of the farm system.
Yeah.
You know.
And boy, that tee, I haven't seen a bullpen like that.
Yeah.
It just puts the ball right in the strike zone every time.
Unbelievable, isn't it? It's so accurate. It's crazy what it does.
You know, when we were kids, there was no hitting off tees.
No,
I don't care
it was
for
all
that.
coach pitch.
I don't care for the tees.
I think it should be coach pitch and tee ball as well.
I don't understand why they're doing that. Just because it's easier?
It. I mean, they changed it a long time ago. There's like a board, and they changed it. Just like the league changed it this year for kid pitch in Pinto. So Pinto is like one step higher than T-ball, and before it was just all coach pitch. Well, Coal City does kid pitch for the first like 2 or 3 innings, and so
I don't care for that either.
No, I don't really either. I think it'll be really hard for kids to like learn fundamentals, and it'll be super discouraging to them when they can't pitch and can't hit the ball.
Right.
So, but it's kid pitch like up, like they get.
They get like 5 pitches.
Yeah, and then the coach can pitch after that.
Or the 4 and 4, right? The kids get 4 and the coaches get 4.
It's something like that. And then after the 3rd inning, it's definitely the coaches the rest of the time. But either way, they were claiming that it speeds the games up, shortens the score. I don't know. We'll see.
Controversial topics here.
It is controversial to the area.
We should not be addressing this kind of political sports stuff.
It's fine. I mean, it's not like my kid won't play baseball and I won't probably be involved, so...
So next week, guys, Snarf Talk is going to be at C2E2.
Yeah.
And boy, we got stickers and stickers and stickers. And we're giving away stickers.
What else do we have?
We have T-shirts.
Yeah. Repping the merch.
And we don't have a booth because our booth, we can't be... you can't take a concept like Snarf Talk and confine it
to a booth.
To a 10 by 10 booth.
Who are you that says that I need to be at a booth? Right. I don't.
Our booth is on our backs.
Yeah.
And our feet.
I'll carry this bitch all over. You know what I'm saying?
We're going to promote it here. We're going to promote it there. We're going to promote it in the food court.
Yeah, definite food court. Lots of tables. We could throw some stickers down.
We're going to promote it at other people's booths.
Right. We're going to take pictures of ourselves in front of people like they are our fans.
We're going to find an artist.
Definitely.
We did not meet our goal of finishing our script before C2E2.
You didn't? Oh, I finished like at least half of it.
Well, we still got a week.
We do have a week, and it's not hard to type.
Nope.
You know, with the flowing thoughts and.
If I had to guess, if we will finish it by that week, I'd probably bet against it. But
ooh, all right. I got something to work towards then. Proving you wrong.
Prove me wrong.
I'd like to prove you wrong.
But we should put together, like, since we do have the first 5 pages, we should probably put those together somehow as like a preview.
I think so. I think that'd be good.
Yeah.
Half of it or...
Because we're going to find an artist there.
Sure.
They have a huge artist alley at C2E2.
We're also probably going to sign on, like, David Tennant to be involved.
So are we gonna pay to meet David Tennant?
Oh, gosh. I don't know.
And Matt Smith.
I want to meet David Tennant real bad.
I know. It might only be like $50.
Real bad.
I like how when we talk about most celebrities, we're like $50, and then on this one, I'm like, it's only
$50.
That's a lot of money to meet somebody and take a picture. But
it is. But it's like he's my guy. He's my doc. You know, my DOC. That's what I call him.
Yeah.
Like, what up, DOC?
There's very few celebrities I would want to meet.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Like him. Kevin Smith.
Definitely.
Which I have met Kevin Smith and shook his hand.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I met him at the premiere of Red State.
Okay. Okay, I wasn't supposed to go to that one. I thought you were always going to bring up the one that I was supposed to go to. I didn't go to, and it was like the best time of your life.
No, you were supposed to go to Red State.
Are you sure? No, I don't think so.
Which one are you talking about?
There was one like up north. It wasn't in Chicago though.
No.
It's like Winona or something.
No, there was one. There was a podcast that was down south. That was in
exactly what I said.
that you had a ticket for it and you bailed on me
again.
But no, you went to Jay
scary.
and Silent Bob's Super Groovy cartoon movie.
Right, I remember that.
And I think you were supposed to go to Red State.
Oh, probably.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I had a good time by myself.
Good. I'm glad you did. And you met Kevin Smith, so it was obviously worth it.
Wait, am I wrong? Was it the Zach Braff one that you were supposed to go with me to?
Probably. Because I don't think it was Red State. Because I remember you telling me about Red State.
Yeah, I think Red State was in like 2009. So
that was the year I got married.
That was before the Snarf.
10 years this year.
Yeah.
Of marriage.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a milestone. They say if you're married after 7, you're going to stay married.
Yeah, 7's like the critical year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're 3 years beyond now.
I'm not even close to 7, so.
Yeah, you are, aren't you?
5, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
a lot closer to 7 than you are none.
Yeah, that's true. In any case,
hey, so I want to let's get into this.
Let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
First of all, we're going to do some news, right?
I got a little bit of news
what we're
that I
watching.
want to fire out.
And then we're going to do a big Captain Marvel review.
Correct.
And that's going to be the definitive review.
And it'll be spoiler-ridden.
Spoilerific.
So if you have not seen it, we'll put it in the description of the show. If you haven't seen it, you want to go see it, whatever. If you don't want it to be spoiled, then you're going to have to wait, obviously. Or you can listen to the first half.
But we'll do the first half, and then we'll tell you when we're going to start it. And
right.
You can stop the podcast there if you don't want spoilers. But I wouldn't worry about spoilers because it's not really something that's a huge spoilerific movie. But
no, there really isn't too much that you could spoil, except for the fact that you just want to see it without someone talk about it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So,
which I'm kind of that way.
News, Jerry.
All right, really big stuff that this one is big to me, and I'm like really pumped about it. Super excited about James Bond, and I haven't been super excited about James Bond in a long time.
I don't know any of this news.
So Cillian Murphy, he's the guy from Peaky Blinders, the main character.
We talked about him before.
He's taking over as James Bond for Daniel Craig.
That sounds horrible.
I think it's awesome, and I'm so excited.
Doesn't even what?
Have you haven't seen Peaky Blinders, so you don't know how bad he is.
He's little, like and skinny.
No, he's not. He's jacked.
He is when he is Scarecrow.
That's the only thing you have to base off of this dude.
No, I've seen him in other stuff.
He's not that little.
He is not big.
Neither is Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig's big.
He's not that big. He's like 5'9". He just happens to work out a lot.
Could have been Idris Elba.
This dude is cut. Cillian Murphy is cut.
Why not Idris?
And he's Scottish, which you'll have to have a British accent, but that's fine. I thought he was American for a long time.
So he'll be the second Scottish James Bond?
Yeah.
Wasn't Sean Connery Scottish?
Yeah.
I don't think their other ones
That's
were.
why they have to go back to Scotland.
Got to go back to the Scots.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy. Okay.
I'm pumped about it. Of course you would be against it. You're against Peaky Blinders so much. It just hurts me. It hurts me.
I'm not against it. I just don't care
You're
anything
like,
about
it's
it. And
not
it doesn't
the greatest
look
show
interesting
that
to me.
was on Netflix. Well, it is. All right. Dark Phoenix came out. That's an X-Men movie.
The movie came
trailer.
out?
The trailer. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Dark Phoenix trailer came out.
But I thought it was already out.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
The official trailer came out just last week. And, like, dude's not looking forward to it. There's a lot of hate for it online.
Why is there any hate for it, A? And B, why isn't dude looking forward to it? I do not understand.
Yeah, when we were sitting at the movie, when we were watching Captain Marvel and the trailer ran, he was like, I don't want to. Not a big deal.
I don't understand that.
And I told him, I was like, I'm kind of pumped for this. The big hate that I've heard about it is that they're wearing the same suits from the previous movies, and they look bad. They don't like them. There's a lot of confusion with
that's
Mystique.
not even something I noticed.
Well, people do notice everything. And there's a lot of confusion with Mystique because at the end of, what was the last one?
Days of Future Past?
Yeah.
No, Age of Apocalypse.
Yes. She's kind of on Magneto's side of things,
Yeah.
And then it looks like she's like all about the X-Men again.
Listen, you don't know what's going to happen based on a trailer.
Well, the basis of this movie is that they're all going to have to fight her.
They're going to join
because
forces.
She's going to murder everyone.
That's what's going to happen. They're going to join forces.
But the largest of the complaints
because they just
is that,
cannot make Micah Fassbender a bad character.
Right. The worst like offense is that they're saying that what's her name? She plays Dark Phoenix, and I can't remember her name now. Sophie something or
Sophie Turner.
Sophie Turner. I knew it. I knew it was a Sophie. So anyway, they're like hating on her because she's apparently bad at acting in this movie.
She's pretty bad in Game of Thrones.
She's
one of the definitely most annoying characters, or one of the
sure.
And
I
not
think
a
the
great
character
actor.
itself is annoying, but
she's very wooden.
Yeah, stoic.
But I don't know. She looks the part.
She does look the part.
So,
Absolutely. And the part in the comic books, to be honest, is whiny and
right.
Like Dark Phoenix is kind of or Phoenix in general, like and Jean Grey is just like a crybaby to begin with. Like, oh, I use my powers. I'm so tired. No, come on. If I had those powers, I'd be rocking it.
I'm really looking forward to it because that's one of my favorite comic book storylines. And then one of my favorite cartoon storylines on the X-Men.
She's incredible.
Cartoon.
Like what she can do.
It's great. I was like obsessed with the Phoenix when I was a child.
Yes, a child, a wee baby child.
So I'm looking forward to it, big time.
Yeah,
Even though they've already done it.
Well, they did. Yeah, they did. Well, they killed her off, but there wasn't like a whole movie based on her.
Basically, X2.
Was it basically all her?
I mean, it was a lot to do with it, and we know for a fact that those exist in the same universe.
Oh yeah.
But it was all reset because of
yes, it was
whatever
reset.
that one is. The one where they go back in time. Days of Future Past. Or forward in time.
So just to move on here quickly, sorry. There is another replace in a movie, replacing an actor. And it's Idris Elba is doing the replacing.
Okay. Not James Bond.
Not James Bond, which would be cool if he was James Bond.
I don't think he's that great.
Oh,
I think he gets a little overhyped. Idris Elba.
I think he's bad A.
He was great in The Office.
Yes, he was.
He was
great
really
in a lot of things.
Yeah.
So Idris Elba will be replacing Will Smith in Suicide Squad.
So is it a direct?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
It's a return.
He would be great in that. Don't get me wrong. I thought Will Smith was the best part of that movie.
Right, but he's replacing Will Smith.
So I don't know if we talked about this, but I rewatched Suicide Squad the other day. It was not good.
No?
It was really... We didn't talk about it. That's right.
We didn't.
I talked about it with Dude. So I watched it when I was on vacation at Disney.
Oh, yeah.
One night it was on TV, and I watched pretty much the whole movie. It was hard to sit through.
Wow.
It was really bad.
I remember I went to the theater.
So did I. The first 20 minutes are really good.
Okay.
And then it is so dumb and convoluted, and the enemies are terrible.
Yeah,
and then the major
really
boss
bad.
at the end is really, really dumb. And then the fact that they're all except for one of them, like the fire guy, who I've never even heard of before.
Yeah, I don't know who that
all
was.
but him was woefully outmatched by a mummy witch thing. And then you got that going on, and she's all powerful, and you got Harley Quinn there in underwear holding a baseball bat.
Baseball bat. Yeah, what are you going to do?
It's ridiculous and terrible. And I forgot the Batman cameos in that, which were kind of good. And then I forgot the ending cameo with Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne meeting with Amanda Waller.
Yes.
That was kind of interesting because it was the setup for Justice League, and then you're it was looking back in time, being nope, it's not gonna work.
Not gonna happen. That's funny. Let's see,
Speaking of Justice League, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the guy on it had mentioned that he was part of the production crew for Justice League, and the original movie. Before,
yes, I heard this.
What's his name? What happened?
This was on a Fat Man.
Was it Zack Snyder originally was doing that?
Yes.
Okay, and then his son committed suicide.
Right.
And he had to drop out of the project. I guess that movie was awesome, and it was a completely different movie. And then weirdly enough, Joss Whedon, who rarely makes anything bad happen, came in and basically the movie, and it wasn't probably him, it was probably the direction of the studio.
Right.
The whole thing fell apart. And a lot of it probably had to do with they were filming it when Batman versus Superman was released. Mm-hmm. So
they wanted to make some
They
changes.
had to quickly change direction after half the production was over.
I'm sure it was a lot of studio notes that came back that were like, nope, do this.
They had this whole... So this guy was telling about what they had originally were pitching was like the whole Darkseid saga. And like all of those scenes in...
Wasn't Green Lantern going to be in it too?
Yes.
Yeah.
And all those
like
scenes...
the whole Green Lantern Corps?
The whole Green Lantern Corps was going to somehow be involved. And there were moments in Batman vs. Superman that were supposed to pay off that never happened. Like Batman when he was in like apocalyptic garb fighting those. None of that. They just never. They had stuff planned that never got to get done. Because Darkseid was supposed to come down, decimate the Earth, and it was going to be this like post-apocalyptic universe. And then Batman was in it. And then there was some other scene where there was somebody talking to somebody, and there was green light like on
shining on them.
And that was supposed to be the Green Lantern part, which never happened. Like a bunch of it just never happened.
There are so many things that were said in just that right there that make me want to see that movie so much more. I mean, anybody would want to see that.
I wish I could remember what it was on. Fat Man Beyond, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was. That's where I heard the exact same thing,
and it sounded amazing what they were doing.
I don't understand the direction of that company. Like, what are they doing? What do they think we want?
I don't know.
We want good things that make sense, you know.
But what do you say? Like, that sounds amazing, but yet we spent how many years talking shit about Zack Snyder?
Right.
So
I get it.
I think part of the problem was Batman vs. Superman was maligned unfairly. I think it wasn't that bad of a movie, really.
No,
the third act was bad, but outside of that, like the first half of that movie is really pretty good.
They really could have ended it better, obviously. That was like an obvious mistake, but yeah, I enjoyed the first 3/4 of it. And, there's a couple little nitpicks of like Batman shooting guns and things like that, but whatever. I can let that slide if it's a good movie.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be a pretty decent movie until it's like, oh, Martha.
I mean, honestly, I enjoyed that movie a lot when I saw it in theaters.
Mm-hmm. So did I.
I really haven't gone back and rewatched it.
I really never have either. I've rewatched a couple parts of it where he fights those dudes up in the attic at the end, saving Martha.
I mean,
that's a good scene.
So, anyways, moving on.
I don't really have any other big news.
I got a couple things. A couple trailers got released. The new Game of Thrones trailer came out.
Yep.
What can I say?
Yeah.
I want it to happen so bad, but then again, I don't, because that means it's over.
It's over. I know.
I don't know why. Why did they have to do this?
I've got the same feeling that I did with Breaking Bad when Breaking Bad's final season came out. And I I didn't watch it when it came out. Like I waited until the season was over so I could watch them all. And I kept thinking to myself, like, I don't know if I want to watch this.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to be over. And I feel that way with Game of Thrones.
But why are they... I mean, I get it. Go out at the top.
Yeah.
But it's like... It's not even to its pinnacle yet. I feel like.
You're right. Because it was starting to crest
give us,
that
I think
hill.
it might crest this season. And then give it 2 more seasons to peter out. Don't stop it.
Wow.
Come on. There's so much more they could do.
They're going to crest it within 2 episodes, and then the next 6 or 5, however many there are. I think there's 7 total, or 8. 7 or 8.
7 or 8. Yeah, I thought it was 7, but we don't know how long they are.
I think it is 7 because last year was 8, and I know he had said there was only 15 total episodes left.
I'm betting there's a couple 2-hour episodes in there.
They better have some long ones in there.
So do you think they'll ever bring it back, A, or B, make movies out of it?
I don't know. I don't think they'll ever bring it back. I think they'll have some offshoots from it,
That'd be great.
And maybe have an Eddard Stark movie or show, early show of him.
I would say
I don't know. Yeah, they might have movies.
As a fantasy
I
genre fan, I mean, I guess we still have the whole entire Amazon acquiring the entire Lord of the Rings universe to look forward to.
Yeah, that is true. I forgot about that, man. They're going to throw so much money at that thing.
Billions they spent on it.
Holy shnikes.
I don't think it was billions, but it was like $400 or $500 million to buy the rights.
Wow.
So it's not like they're not going to do anything with it.
Right.
I'm sure
They're
that's
doing a
already in
lot with it.
production.
And it's just TV shows, right? It's not a movie. It's like it's episodic.
TV shows. Yeah. So, I mean, I love Game of Thrones, but Game of Thrones is a character-based show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a world-building show, but it's mainly character-based and a phenomenal characters and drama and stuff. I think Lord of the Rings is more grand in scale.
It's huge.
It's not going to be as violent probably or as cutting edge as Game of Thrones has been as far as it being adult content, but whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
So Game of Thrones trailer comes out, looks good. Another big trailer that dropped was Aladdin, the full trailer.
You know, I didn't watch it. I didn't look at it.
Gosh, it looks really good.
Does it really? I'm so hesitant to watch that because of the backlash about Will
really
Smith.
good. Okay, they show a lot more of that in this trailer, and it definitely doesn't look as goofy.
Okay.
And for most of the movie, he's not blue.
He's not. He's like a...
No, I think that's just
color.
in the beginning when they're in that cave.
And he's out of the lamp.
But when he's like out in the world as a genie, he's just like does not look blue.
So people don't like stare at him.
Right, because that wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
So
okay.
It looks like it. First of all, it looks amazing. The CGI and the effects look amazing. The world and the cast, like everything looks incredible.
Okay.
Very grand in scale. But one thing that it looks really cool to me is it looks to be a shot-for-shot remake of the animated movie.
No, really?
I didn't know that. I think it's a shot-for-shot remake.
Wow. That would be neat.
Barring maybe some particular, like I'm sure when
you can't do, but
like when they're in the lamp, they're probably not going to be able to do all that. But they do some stuff like that, and they have the same songs. It's not like the Jungle Book where there was different song. I don't know if there was different songs, but it was a different.
It was a
story,
different movie, yeah,
kind of. This looks to be not that. And then at the end of the trailer, at least the one I watched on YouTube, they were taking scenes that weren't even in the trailer. And they were showing the animated scene on top and the live action scene on the bottom to show like how identical they were.
Oh, wow.
It was cool.
That'll be good then. That's exciting. I like that a lot if they do it right.
They're going to.
I know there was like a little bit of people talking like and complaining that Aladdin himself was wearing a shirt underneath of his vest. And they're like, he didn't wear a shirt under his vest. Why do you got to put a shirt on him? Like, what's the problem with that?
I can't stand people.
I know. It's annoying. Give me a break.
The trailer looks phenomenal.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
And, I was like the perfect age for Aladdin when it came out. Yeah. So
I used to watch Aladdin like back to back to back to back to back.
Did you watch the cartoon on TV?
I don't think so.
They had a good cartoon.
I just watched the movie.
I was just talking about that with Brittany today. The cartoon and then the Sega game was huge.
I did play the game. But I don't think I ever watched the cartoon. It's not ringing a bell to me.
There was also a trailer which Dude showed us that is an animated DC Universe movie, Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I don't think it's versus, it's with.
No, it's Batman v Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It was?
Yeah.
Well, because there's a comic book that just recently came out with Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I just didn't think it was a V.
Well, it's one of those, you know how the V things work. They're going to start by fighting each other and they're going to team
and then
up.
They'll work together. They'll have to.
It looks awesome.
It does look awesome. I'm really excited about that. Kevin Conroy is still doing the voice, which is nice.
Is it really?
It sounded like him to me.
I thought it didn't sound like him.
Oh my gosh, why are we always opposite?
I specifically remember thinking that does not sound like Kevin.
Oh, I thought it did. Well, he's my guy too. I could be wrong. Yeah, it does look really good. I'm excited about that. I'll absolutely watch it.
And some of the Batman stuff they do in it is like amazing. It's like pitch perfect for the character. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Batman seems like the ultimate power in this movie.
Absolutely, he does.
Like, it seems like there's no match for him.
Especially with the turtles, because they're like, oh, what's that one scene where they're like, something, prove it. Like, if you can, prove it. And he, like, literally just smashes Raphael back, or Michelangelo, one of the two.
Yeah, it looks
And
like he easily handles Shredder.
Yeah. Of course he does.
I don't
He's like
know.
the best fighter in
It
the
looks
world.
cool. That's all I got for trailers. I did have one other thing. Did you see the? We were going to talk about it last week, but we forgot the news about Alex Trebek.
Oh, yes. That's disheartening.
I watched that, like when he did that. I don't know if he did it on the show or whatever.
No, I think he just put out that video, like, on his own.
Literally was like upset.
Yeah. He's like, and he's so confident and like mild-mannered and just sitting there like, I will beat this, even though the odds look dire. Like, I am confident that I can come through.
Then I looked up the odds for the type of pancreatic, or is it pancreatic?
Stage 4 pancreatic cancer, yeah.
It's like a 95%.
Right, it's like you just don't live.
Yeah.
You don't live from it. So
it was awful, but for him to come out and do that was amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then I was looking at like how long he's been on the air, which is incredible, and how long Jeopardy has, how many episodes. And the third thing was the amount of viewers of Jeopardy.
Oh, that's got to be like more than anything on TV ever.
Maybe I'm wrong.
It has to be.
I thought that they said, the thing I was reading said like 20 million.
That doesn't
which
surprise
like blows Walking Dead out of the water.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me
that
at all.
cannot be right. But anyway, it's like a huge amount.
What? Some of you guys fact check that for us.
Fact check it, David.
Real quick. Beep, beep, beep,
David.
beep, 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 beep. Yeah, David, fact check that.
I know you're a huge Jeopardy fan.
He's one
Anyway,
of the
that
biggest.
was really sad, and we lost Luke Perry.
Yeah, Luke Perry died of a massive stroke.
It's crazy.
Out of nowhere, 52. That's young.
Yeah, I never watched. What show was he on? 90210.
90210.
Never watched that show.
No, neither did I. It wasn't anything I would really watch. I never
But
was into that
by
stuff.
all accounts, seemed like a really cool dude. So
Yeah, seemed like a nice guy. I know that. What's the show that he's on? The Archie show.
Riverdale, is he on that?
He's on Riverdale, and they're trying to figure out how to fix that, because he's a pretty big character, I guess.
He was a voice actor in the Incredible Hulk cartoon from the 90s. He was a voice actor on Biker Mice from Mars. Remember that show?
I do remember that show. Holy smokes!
liked that
Biker
show.
Mice from Mars. I haven't heard that in
He was
a
a
Coon's
voice
age.
actor on Pepper Ann.
I don't know.
Pepper Ann, much too cool for 7th grade. Pepper Ann,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
like 1 in a million.
Why do you remember that?
I remember everything.
And she like kicked the door open at recess. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember everything.
Pepper Ann.
I don't know what else he was in, but anyway, that was
a
sad.
Saturday morning cartoon.
Is that all your news?
That's all the news I got. I got a bunch of what you're watching stuff.
Okay, let's do that.
So we haven't officially talked about Umbrella Academy yet. Did you finish it?
No,
You didn't finish it.
No.
You couldn't make it.
I can't do it.
Oh man.
I'm struggling with that. I'm like,
So-
I watched it in a binge, like 7-ish episodes. I know you said the 8th one was the best one,
Dude.
but I was
Bruh.
struggling so hard for it to keep my attention and it was very slow.
It's literally 3 episodes left. All you got to do
Is
is
that
watch
it?
8, 9, 10.
No, I
If
need
you've
to-
seen 7, then you need to watch 8, 9, 10.
okay, all right.
The last 3 episodes are that make the whole show.
I mean,
That's like sets up. It is literally all set up until the 8th episode, and then by the end of the 8th episode, you're like, it's the biggest moment that has happened in the show yet by far, and it's a shocking one. And then the end of it, it's like, now I don't even want to talk about it because I thought you had finished it.
go ahead and talk about it.
The end of it, they end up.
Spoilers.
Yeah, so spoilers. So they're trying to save the world, right?
Yeah.
And they think they've got it all figured out, and they've ended it. And then, so the white violin is Ellen Page. They're like fighting her kind of and trying to make her stop murdering. And she like misses.
Maybe you shouldn't tell.
Yeah. I shouldn't. I'm telling you. You do not see where the direction of this goes.
All right, we'll have to get back to this one when I watch the end of it.
Yeah. I liked the last 3 episodes made it for me. That's why I liked it, and I'm in the bag to watch the next season.
I was just struggling because it was slow, and then
It's absolutely slow.
some of the acting was starting to annoy me.
Yeah. I agree with 100% with all of that. The first 7 episodes are weak. The third episode just ticked me off. Luther is this big monkey dude.
I would say,
and he can't fight a human being.
Yeah.
You can't beat him up. He gets roughed around. Give me a break.
that
dude.
guy's like not a normal human being though.
And then, no, I get it that he's like a really good like contract killer, basically.
I kind of almost seemed
Either
like there
way.
was something supernatural about that guy.
I don't know. But then the guy who throws the knives, like he throws the knives at Cha-Cha around the corner. She's like running away. He throws a knife around the corner and he sticks it in her butt. Give me a break, dude. Throw that in her spine. Like you can control it.
Those people should have been dead so many times.
It
But
just-
those two are the best storyline in that show.
They were. They really were. I agree
So
with you.
I was fine with it.
Klaus, though, he's my man. He's good.
That guy makes the show.
Yeah, he gets even better.
Not only is he the best character, he is by far the best actor.
Yep, I agree.
Other notable actors are the guy that Ellen Page is dating, who's like the bad guy.
Yeah,
He's pretty good.
he is pretty good.
Ellen Page is awful.
That guy that Ellen Page is dating, it was also in Jack Ryan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was the guy who flew the drones.
Oh, yeah. And he
Yeah.
was good in that,
He was
too.
really good in that, yeah.
The Luther guy is almost unbearably bad.
He's not good. Well, he was in something before, too, because I recognized him. Not good.
Yeah, so he was rough. And then the young kid, number 5.
He's pretty good.
He's good.
I
He's
like
good.
him.
All the other ones are fine for the most part.
Yeah, so we'll talk more about that, I guess, once you watch the last 3 episodes at least. But I'm in the bag for it.
Okay.
So the next, I watched a movie that I kind of forgot about, and I'm glad I found it. It's on Amazon Prime. You can watch it right now. The Disaster Artist.
Oh, yeah. I really wanted to see that when it came out, and then I just never got to
Oh
it.
man, is it good?
I heard great things about it.
I've never seen The Room, and The Disaster Artist is based off of the movie called The Room by Tommy Wiseau, and then his buddy Greg Sinestro. They meet each other at an acting class and become friends. Tommy Wiseau is a dude that nobody knows anything about. So, and this is what I was not aware of. So, he claims and he tells people that he's from New Orleans. Well, his accent is definitely not from New Orleans.
Right.
He said that he owns a fashion company overseas. Nobody knows what this company is. He self-funded the movie, which cost $6 million to make.
This is true. This
This
is
is all 100% true. And they don't know where he got the money. Nobody knows where he's got all of this money to fund the movie.
I mean, $6 million's not that much. He could just be like a independently wealthy.
you also
like,
have to remember this
inheritance.
is in like 99.
No, I'm just saying
2000.
he could have easily been in a situation where he inherited or had a trust fund for
Yeah, you're exactly right.
$50 million.
But he's never told anybody anything like of where any of this comes from or even where he's from.
Russian oil money.
Where he grew up. They found pictures of him in Poland.
Okay, Polish oil
So,
money.
Yeah, it could be Polish potato money.
And they were kind of, there's a Russia. That's right next to Poland. There's a lot of interplay there.
Could be. I don't know.
Isn't that how World War II started?
Anyway.
Like the Russians invaded Poland?
This, no. I mean, the Blitzkrieg came through Poland, Germans.
I thought that was like the beginning of it was they invaded, or the Germans took Poland.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But that was the Blitzkrieg that started. They just they literally told Poland oh, don't worry about anything. We won't come in there. And then boom, overnight they were like just running through the country.
They're like, we got you now.
Murdering them Poles.
And this has been World War II history by two people that don't know anything.
Anyway, so this is another movie that they do that side by side comparison at the end, and it's just unbelievably perfect.
Really, I love those
James
things.
Franco, didn't he won some big award for this, right?
I think maybe a Golden Globe or something.
Okay, it wasn't the Academy Award for Best Actor?
I don't know. Keep going. I'll look it up.
Because I thought he did. I remember him winning an award, and he went up on stage, and Tommy Wiseau went up with him, and he tried to talk in the microphone, and he literally like put his hand on his face and pushed him back, and was like, "No, this is mine." And once you watch him in the movie, it is so ridiculously good. He does everything perfect.
He won for 127 hours.
Okay.
He won a Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy for The Disaster Artist.
Okay.
And a Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor in a Leading Role.
It is. I will tell
a Critics' Choice Award.
Every single person that has not seen The Disaster Artist, go and watch it. I mean, it's not based on a good movie. So, like, when you watch them, it's not necessarily good. But, the movie part of it is not good because it's meant to not be good. Right. But it follows their life, like Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sinestro, which is Dave Franco. So they're brothers acting with each other.
Love Dave Franco.
It's so good.
Remember when, this is off the point, but there was a big thing with Dave Franco where he won some award and then like everybody was boycotting him because like, I don't know, he was accused of something. You know how it is nowadays. He was accused of something. And James Franco was accused of something.
Sure.
And he was like on the shit list.
Yeah, and he didn't show up to one of the award ceremonies like last year.
We're talking about James Franco, 2009 Central Ohio Film Critics Association Actor of the Year.
Wow. Central Ohio?
Yeah.
That's big. That's big over there.
Yeah.
I've heard that's a big deal over there.
For The Disaster Artist, he won Best Actor from the Dallas-Fort Worth Film Critics Association.
He wins Best Actor in my mind. Seriously.
No, he did look great
some
in
of
that
the
movie.
best acting I've ever seen. They've got him spot on.
I remember. Do you know when The Room came out?
2003.
Okay.
I don't.
It came
really
out when I
remember
was
it.
in college because I remember it was one of those things. It was like one of those movies
Yeah,
that was.
you weren't in college in 2003, were you?
Mm-hmm.
Were you? Oh, okay.
I'm old. You got to remember
You
that.
are. Whew, that's rough.
No, it was one of those like cult movies that people
Yep.
are watching at that age. You know what I mean?
Yep. Because I looked up like income off of that movie. So they claim that he made like $17,000 to $30,000 on opening weekend. That's it. That's
Well,
all
he
that
could
they
have opened
got.
it
And then
5 theaters too.
It was like 2. Like
Okay.
opened in like 2 theaters is all.
So a lot of movies will do that though. They'll open in one movie because you
It's
have
like a
to open
test.
in one. No, you have to open in one theater to get some type of certification or
Okay.
something. So a lot of independent films they'll just open in one theater for like a day, just to get. I don't remember whatever it is to be considered for awards. You have to open in one theater.
So they're claiming though now they don't know 100% because he's never like told anybody how much money he makes off of this, but because of that big cult following, they're saying that he could have made anywhere from 25 to 30 million so far.
Wow.
So he's obviously made his money back.
What's he doing these days?
And I don't really know. It says at the end of the movie like what he's up to now.
I always got that confused by that movie that came out. When that movie came out, there was another movie out that same time period with Brie Larson called The Room or something like that.
Okay.
And I always got those two. I was always really confused because I thought the movie they were talking about was that one with Brie Larson that she won all the awards for.
I don't know that movie.
Oh, it was a movie. It was like her big first movie, and I think she won an award, and the movie won an award. It was like in 2013. And the whole movie was like her and her kid locked in this garage, and they were in this room the whole time. They were like, somebody kidnapped them and locked them in the garage. Like
so it's not like Escape Room.
No, for like their whole lives.
Oh.
The whole movie took place in that room. I think it was called The Room.
Like what was really happening in California with the kids that were,
I guess,
family that was kept in the cages and stuff. Well, anybody that wants to watch it, I would say watch it and be prepared for some acting that'll blow your mind. It's, again, like it's weird to watch him because you're like, that's like, why are you speaking that way? Why are you acting this way? But once you see it next to each other and see how this dude really acted, James Franco was just so spot on.
Nice. I will check that out.
I didn't hit her, Mark. I didn't hit her. Oh, hi, Mark. That's like one of the scenes, like one of the best scenes. Or he just comes busting up. He says, I didn't hit her. It's not true. I didn't hit her. Oh, hi, Mark. It's like, what? It's so ridiculous. And he did that take when they're filming it. They did that exact take like it was like over 60 times because he couldn't remember any of his lines when they were filming. It's like some of the worst conditions while filming, and it's really good. I can't get enough of that movie.
Cool.
It was, yeah. Amy, of course, not a big fan,
No.
but she was like dozing off in between when we were watching it. So when she'd wake up, she didn't know what was going on.
Listen,
really.
this is I always assumed that was a movie that if you are into movies, you'll like it, and if you're not into movies, you might not like it.
Sure. I ended up finally watching Bandersnatch.
Oh,
Black Mirror Bandersnatch.
which we review in one of our earlier episodes. You know which one?
I don't. It's like 6 or 7.
Yeah,
I think
it's early on.
It wasn't as good as what I thought it was going to be.
I told you that it wasn't going to be.
Yeah, but it is so beyond anything I've ever done before in a
That's
movie
exactly what I said.
that it made it very, very interesting to me.
That's what I told you. It was like super interesting and like screws with your mind, but at the same time, you're not really that interested in the story.
Yeah, and I finally ended with I had, what was it? Let me look at my notes here. 5. I had about 5 out of the 10 endings. Total.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch it that long, and I got all of them.
Oh no, I only had about 5. Once I started looking through the list, I only had 5 of the endings, and it finally was over.
Oh, see, I did almost every single ending, but maybe that's just because I was
Picking the wrong thing.
I guess I was just a lot meaner than you.
Maybe, yeah. I guess you probably were, because that's pretty easy on the dude most of the time, and I never wanted to throw tea on the computer.
I did all of them, so I did everything.
At one point, I did throw tea on the computer because the other option was one I had already done.
Okay.
So I knew what was going to happen
Well,
if I chose that other option. But this one was like, pour tea all over the computer. I was like, who would do that? Like, even if you're so mad, like, who would do that? I would maybe throw something or toss some things, but I'm not going to pour my tea.
Did it totally screw your mind about how the movie was about you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, you're the main character.
You are in the movie.
You are in the movie, but even beyond that, on like a deeper level, the movie's about you. It's weird and wild, man. What's so wild about that is like the amount of thought and time and energy that went into it.
I can't imagine how long it took them to make that movie.
It was like 2
Put
years.
that stuff together. And like that one, the one ending, I think it's the hidden ending that most people, or not hidden, but most people don't get it, where it just ends everything. Like you don't even live. Like I didn't get that right off the bat. I had eventually got it.
Did you get the super secret ending on the bus?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Okay, you got that.
Yeah, where he gets his bunny. He has the bunny. Doesn't have to look for it. And his mom's like, "You want to come with?" He says, "Yeah, I want to go with." And they go together. And
No.
not that one.
No.
They go on the bus together though.
No, that's not it. There's a super secret ending which I read about, and apparently nobody gets it, but I got it, and because I'm special.
Mm-hmm. Very.
No, and he goes in. He's on the bus, and he pops the tape in, and it's just static.
He pops the tape in on the bus.
He's on the bus. It's at the very end.
He's older.
I can't remember exactly what leads up to it, but it's like it ends, and then it starts again. And then he's on a bus and he pops a tape in and it makes just like machine whizzing noises. And if you, whatever that computer that he was programming on, if you take that audio, that the programming language is like audio based. So if you take that audio and put it through that code from that, whatever, from the 1980s, it gives you a website. And if you go to that website, you can play the game.
No way.
For real.
You did it.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
But I got that ending. I just never.
Wow.
Yeah, look it up. Look it up,
Yeah,
like the super secret banners. I'm sure you can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it other than literally he's on the bus, he puts the tape in, and it plays like static noise.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I thought you meant the one where basically just takes everything out of the movie right off the bat.
I didn't even know the one you're talking about. Maybe I didn't get every ending.
Oh. Yeah, because he gets...
They said there's so many endings that there are some that will never be seen.
It's like when he puts the bunny in the vault, and then you go to the vault and you type in the password, and you type in toy, I think is the one, and you end up getting the bunny back and putting it back underneath your bed. and then he goes to bed, and in the morning it's there.
Oh, that's the ending. That's like the main ending. Yes.
Yeah, it's one of the endings.
I understand, but like that's the final one that I did that actually ended it.
And yeah, right.
Because all the other ones led to either him dying or like it just like cut it short.
Yeah, jumping out the window.
There were so many endings that I wouldn't consider endings until you start looking up the things, and I'm like, well, that's not really an ending because it happened at the very beginning.
Right, I agree.
But they consider it an ending.
Like the reality show one. Did you get that one?
My thought is if the end takes you back to a previous choice, that's not really an ending.
Correct.
There was only one ending.
That's the way it was.
There was only one ending that didn't take you back to a previous, and it was that one.
It was that one. Okay.
But if you had done a different series of things earlier than that, it would give you a bonus ending after that.
Okay.
And that was the tape thing.
That was the tape thing. Okay. Well, it's pretty good. If you want something different that you've never seen before, watch that. You know? So I got 1, 2, 3 more.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can go fast. Because the next one's just Infinity War.
We got a lot of Captain Marvel to talk about.
Yeah, I watched Infinity War twice, and I had caught something in there that caught my attention, and I'd never caught it before, is that when Doctor Strange gives up his stone, finally, to Thanos, what's his name? Iron Man's all beat up, and Tony says to him, he's like, why would you do that? And he says, it doesn't matter. We're in the end game now. End game. We're in the end game now. Like, it's his plan.
Maybe
he knows what the end game is. He saw it.
Maybe he knows that he's in a movie.
So you never know. It's Doctor Strange.
I mean, maybe he's multidimensional.
But he's laying there, and it popped out to me right away. He's like, we're in the end game now.
What if they did that because there's multi dimensions, right?
So that's yeah.
What if they did it where that dimension, they did this in the movie, that dimension, everything that's happening exists, but he knows that there's another dimension where the Avengers is just a movie.
I mean, without it being the movie part, maybe that is the ending. Because I think there's time travel stuff involved because of
there's
Homecoming,
definitely.
Or not Homecoming, but Far From Home, the Spider-Man one, because there's some ties there that I think revert back in time.
Oh, there's no doubt.
So
that's going to happen.
Anyway, I caught that. I watched a show, super British show called Bodyguard on Netflix.
I've seen it, yeah.
You watched the whole thing?
No, I mean, I've seen that.
Oh, okay. Pretty good show. It's only 6
based
episodes.
on the Kevin Costner Whitney Houston movie?
I don't know. I never saw that.
What?
No, I never watched it. It's got a really good music, though.
Yeah. I had the soundtrack when I was there.
Is it of a bodyguard that is protecting the Secretary of Defense, basically, for
No, it's
UK?
a bodyguard. It's a bodyguard protecting Whitney. Well, not Whitney Houston, but she was a singer, right?
Oh, I don't know. Never watched it. But no, it's about somebody in Parliament at UK. He's a bodyguard. He was over in Afghanistan. Doesn't agree with really what the war is doing. This lady's like super pro-war. They get involved, but he's still her bodyguard, and a lot of crazy things happen. 6 episodes, pretty short, just like all those UK TV shows are. It was decent show. It was good to watch, I think, if you want to waste some time. And then the last movie I just watched. Oh, go ahead.
Just a side note on The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston. It was written by Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh.
And Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Well, now I have to
and
watch
Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens and Solo, unfortunately. Go ahead.
The last one I watched, I got up really early yesterday morning. I woke up 2 a.m. Have no idea why. I was like raring to go. I fell asleep about 10:30.
I was raring to go at 9 o'clock when we were supposed to record this podcast, Jerry.
I know. I apologize. But we're recording now, so let's look at the positive. And I watched a movie called Founder with Michael Keaton about McDonald's.
I've seen that movie.
Whew.
It's really good.
It's a good movie.
It's fantastic. Well,
it's
I don't know about fantastic, but it's a good, very solid movie.
He's like an anti-hero.
Yeah.
You know?
You kind of hate him at the end, but...
Yeah, in the beginning, you're like, this guy needs to pull through.
This guy has some stick-to-itiveness.
He does. He's like, stick to it, guy, because I've got some, what are they called? Milkshake machines. I sell milkshake machines. Then he meets these 2 McDonald's guys in California, and helps them out franchising, and then steals it.
It's such a good movie, but they do make them seem they make you feel bad for them, but at the same time, he's the one that built that business.
He absolutely is.
Okay, and B, they kept their whatever their franchises were. They had a bunch.
Yeah.
And then C, they got like
no, they only kept the original.
I thought they had 3.
No, they kept he gave them the original, and then told them that they could not use the McDonald's name.
Okay, well, in any case, what did he give them? $1 million each or something?
Yes, they got like 1.3 because of taxes, but it would even out to 1 million.
Okay, but you know how much money that was in the 1970s or whenever? 60s?
No, this was early 60s, yeah.
So my point is, it doesn't sound like a lot today when you say, "Oh, they only got $1 million."
Yeah.
When you're talking about $1 billion franchise.
Sure.
But at the time, probably it wasn't $1 billion franchise.
And they absolutely could have been and should have been investing that in other things.
Well, and maybe they did.
To make
they're
more
probably dead now, but if they aren't dead, they're probably very wealthy.
Oh, they're all dead. Like this. What was his name? Croft. Something Croft. Ron Croft.
I think it's pronounced Kraft. I think he started the Kraft food empire.
No, that's completely wrong because it starts with a C.
I just made it up.
But he died in 1984 at like 89. So they were in their 50s. Like
my point is $1 million in 1960 something is probably like $20 million now.
Right. They made a lot of money, but he was also supposed to give them like royalties throughout.
Yeah, on a handshake deal.
And he never
didn't.
did. Yeah.
So they say.
Right.
Anyway, it's a good movie. Michael Keaton's really good in it.
He's so good.
And the story's interesting, and by all accounts, it seems to be a true story. So
that's what they say. I can't verify how true it is, but
I'm sure it's dramatized.
Makes for a good movie.
But also, those McDonald's brothers annoy you throughout the whole movie because you're like, "What is wrong with you guys?
Yeah, why they hold back so much? Like, come on,
like
branch out a little.
We don't want milkshake machines. It's like we need to use real ice cream. Like nobody cares.
No. It was the powdered stuff.
Use powdered milkshakes.
That's what they did.
Made out of
and then the
soy oil and corn syrup.
The shitty part at the end is like he sends them that package of strawberry milkshake. Like, here, try this.
And they're like, "Oh, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah,
this is triple thick.
It's really good." That's the last movie I got, but I just watched that the other morning. It was.
Do you like McDonald's milkshakes?
You know, I don't know the last time I ever had a McDonald's milkshake.
A decade.
I bet you it's been longer than that for me.
They're not bad, though, from what I remember.
I remember I liked the vanilla a lot. I liked the vanilla milkshake from McDonald's a lot as a kid. And chocolate, but it was like the only vanilla thing that I liked.
My mom always gets the Shamrock shakes. They should be out now, probably.
Yeah, they should be by now.
I like them.
So
I like them. That's my review of McDonald's milkshakes.
I like them.
Triple thick.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're hard to get out of the straw. That's annoying.
I never used to use a straw. Just drink it. And then, have you ever heard of this whole dip in your fry in the
I hate thing? That.
Give me a break.
Get out of here.
Yeah. What are you? English?
Don't dip your fries in your milkshake.
Yeah.
Don't put honey on your chicken nuggets.
What are we, Canadian?
Don't do
it. Canadians.
Get sweet and sour sauce like every red-blooded American.
Sorry about that. You know what I'm saying? Like riding a moose. Like nobody, those Canadian Mounties riding the moose.
Where's the Canadian? What do they have to do with this?
It's just as weird as dipping your fries in a milkshake.
I'm going up north of the border for some French fries and gravy.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that poutine. That's what it's called, poutine, man. Give me that poutine with
poutine.
With
Poutine's
that
like that. It's like the hot to trot like local food craze now.
So this accent is because I've been watching and listening to a crap load of Theo Vaughn.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh my gosh, this dude is
He's Southern though.
He's from New Orleans, yeah. He gets like Cajun when he starts.
But you're doing
really
Canadian.
Talking. Yeah, I know. But the whole thing, the reason I was thinking about an accent is because of him. The dude is wild. He gets on these wild tangents that are so funny. He started talking about Noah's Ark. He's like, yeah, Noah's Ark came over from the UK. It's like, but before they stopped and they let off all them weird animals, them goofy animals, the animals that are like smoking weed on the boat. He's like, and they dropped them off in Australia. It's like, and a kangaroo. He's like, I think a kangaroo and one of them marmosets, them big eye things, they got it on and had them koalas. He's like, them koalas got arms so
He
strong.
is so interesting to listen to because not one word that comes out of his mouth is coherent to any particular thought
so great.
or serious in any way, shape, or form. Everything is a bit.
Well, he gets super serious on his podcast.
Really?
About his own, like, depression,
Because
alcoholism.
it seems like everything is a bit to him. Kind of like Thomas Middleditch.
It does seem like a bit, but he does get very serious about, like, going to therapy and talk about himself. Like, he's a broken dude, but he's very transparent about it, and I don't think that is made up by any means. But the rest of it, like when he's even talk about that, he gets into these tangents of stuff that are so funny. He said the other day, like, he's got this really crazy mullet going on right now, and he's like, if you touch my mullet in the back, he's like, it's so soft. It's like 19 babies rubbing themselves with these little chamois, like these little soft chamois. It's like little buttered babies. He's like, you ever buttered a baby before? Boy, I would think that would be good. What are you talking about? Then he just talking about Vietnamese, and he's like, well, this is a completely separate topic, but he's like, because that one time I almost took a bite out of that little Vietnamese boy at the Apple store. Apparently that must have happened at some point.
Oh my God.
I'm into that dude right now. And also he plays music at the beginning of his podcast. And
Wait, you're not talking about him on Joe Rogan?
no, this past weekend.
What?
He has a podcast called This Past Weekend.
That's so confusing.
Oh,
No, I didn't know that. I thought you were talking about him on Joe Rogan.
he's got no. Well, he's got a whole podcast.
You're bringing a whole new podcast into your fray?
Oh gosh, I love it.
How,
I have
man?
to because I've seen him so
I can't
much on
keep up with
YouTube.
the podcasts I want to keep
Because
up
he
with.
YouTubes all of his own stuff too, and he interviews people too. But it's like every other one. So, like let's say he starts out with one, and it's just him talking. About an hour and a half, maybe a little less. And then the next one will be an interview. Then the next one's just him. Then the next one's an interview. So it alternates. And
I don't know if I could listen to a solo podcast.
Get into one of his and
Who does he talk to?
himself, you. And it's just, I don't know. I love it. I literally love it.
The
So
only
good.
solo podcast I've ever listened to is Snyder On,
Oh, yeah. The 3 episodes. They're off of Buzzsprout now. So
the non-existent. Oh, it's over.
yeah, it just deleted on its own because I never upgraded the
Right.
hosting site to pay for it because I knew I probably wouldn't.
How about this?
I could get back
Rather
in it.
than get back into that,
I could get back.
why don't you just throw Snyder On's up as Snarf Talk episodes?
Oh no, I don't
Not
wanna
solo, but you'll just be like, we'll have a Snarf Talk Snyder On section. Occasionally, not every week.
Okay. That's up. Yeah.
That
If
way
you
we only
agree
have to
it.
promote one podcast.
Right. I don't
What
necessarily.
do you
need to
guys
do it.
think, our listening audience? Do you want an occasional Snyder On podcast?
Of me talking about the Canadian Mounties riding them mooses.
I mean, it could be about anything, really.
Could be about anything I want.
Could be about poutine.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Surrey.
Sorry.
RCNP.
Yoga hosers. That's a lot of Canadian talk. Watch that movie.
Kevin Smith still says he's making moose jaws. So
I thought that was out. Like
I don't think
completely
so.
out.
No. I have what I've been watching.
All right, hurry up. We're over an hour. We got about an hour of Captain Marvel.
Okay, but
Get
I
after
have
it.
a lot. So
Get after it.
I finished The Punisher.
Oh, I have not.
So
Darn it.
I wanted to get into that, but now you're just telling
That's
me
fine.
you took
I've
all
got-
our time on your pursuits.
Still gonna watch it. So
Okay.
talk about it.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Okay.
I liked that John Preacher character, whatever his name was. John, I can't
Yeah.
remember. Pilgrim.
Pilgrim. Pilly Graham.
And that kind of dies down a little. I mean, he's not really the main villain anymore by the middle to the end of that show.
Really?
But they do some awesome stuff with him at the end of the show.
Okay.
And
It's like set him off on a pilgrimage, or
yeah,
do they?
to find the Holy Grail.
Intense.
But no, it's good. The ending's a little soft for me.
You think so?
Yeah, it kind of peters out, but there are some big twists and turns. It's really good. Definitely would recommend watching The Punisher season 2. I finished and the season ended for my favorite show of a long time, Crashing,
Oh yeah, I still haven't watched that either.
and it
I'm into
ends great with
Of course it would.
a John Mulaney episode, and I'm a big fan of John Mulaney.
Are you?
Yeah,
I've never really watched him much.
I think he's good.
I've
And
seen a little bit of him, but
It's such a good show, guys. Watch Crashing. If you have HBO, you have no excuse. There's only like 8 episodes per season, and they're only like a half an hour. It's a very low commitment,
Yeah, that ain't bad.
high payoff show. 2 movies I watched. One is an old one that I caught on the airplane because I couldn't get that stupid Lady Gaga movie to play.
A Star is Born?
Yeah, I couldn't get it to work.
Love it.
I was really pissed.
I would like that movie a lot.
So I ended up watching The Great Gatsby with Tobey Maguire and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
That was really good.
I think I've seen that one time, but I don't remember, so.
Super good. The acting is incredible. Tobey Maguire and Leonardo DiCaprio are both super good, as well as the entire supporting cast. And the set pieces, the costumes, the production value.
I'm pretty sure it won an
incredible.
award for costume design and stuff. That year,
Very
didn't it?
good movie. I remember, I feel like, okay, so I remember that book, and I don't know if it's one of those things where I read it in high school, I think first school class. I think it's one of those things where I read it, either I read it and I don't remember it, or I didn't read it and I just have convinced myself that I did read it. And I don't, but I didn't really remember the story or anything about it. But it is like considered like one of the great American novels.
So you probably didn't read it.
I guess not, but I
mean,
it's one of those
something would
books
flash
that like
back
I
on you.
remember over the years saying that I had read it, and I don't know if I was just trying to act smart.
Just like flaunting your, yeah. It's
But
like
I feel like I did. I think it's one of those that maybe I had, because there was different books you could pick to write in English for.
yeah,
And I think maybe that's one I read, but I might have read the Cliff Notes or something.
positive you did.
So anyway, I want to read it now, but I don't need to because the movie is super good.
Because you just saw the movie and it's
and
great.
it's like there's quite a bit of twists and turns in it.
I'll need to watch that again then, because I like both of those actors, and
I feel like Tobey Maguire has like disappeared off the earth.
He has.
And that movie came out when?
Early 2000s.
No. It's not
Yes,
that
it
old.
was.
No, it's not that old. I'm going to say 2012.
I bet you it's before 10.
No.
Yeah. It is that old.
The movie came out in 2013.
No way.
Yes, it did.
It's only 6 years old?
Yeah.
Dang. I thought that was way older, because I feel like Tobey Maguire's been gone for 30 years.
Yeah, he died right after the movie.
He did. He's dead.
And Leonardo DiCaprio, has he been in a lot of stuff lately?
Not really. Wolf of Wall Street.
Sometimes I think he's overrated,
Sometimes.
but he is good. I didn't care for the Wolf of Wall Street all that much.
I liked it a lot. You know what I like a lot better? Django.
Yeah.
Django Unchained. He's good in that movie.
You know what he's great in? And probably should have been on my top 20 movies list. Gangs of New York.
Oh my gosh, yes. Gangs of
Butcher.
New York.
That movie's so good.
Holy crap.
You know what's another one I thought of is The
See-
Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. I love that movie.
See, and I haven't ever seen that. But this is why we're idiots. Or this is at least why I'm an idiot.
We just need to do top 50.
There's so many movies
Top
I
50
missed.
movies coming up. Anyway, this is the big finale to what I've been watching.
All right.
Last night after you stood me up, after I had everything set up for the podcast, and I sat here for an hour and waited for you, and then you
Yeah.
canceled at the last minute.
Yeah.
And I packed
straight gangster.
And I packed everything up and just traveled back to my house
That's what I
at
do.
9:30 at night with my tail between my legs,
yeah,
depressed.
while I was doing a different podcast with my other bro.
Yeah, just depressed. I went home. I'm like, I'm gonna watch a movie because I was all wound for sound to do a podcast.
Yeah, all drugged up because we take a lot of uppers and stuff
I
before
was
this.
like 2 Monster energy drinks. In at
I
that
get
point.
I get that 5-hour energy in me. Whew,
Watch out.
I'm ready to podcast for 2.5 hours.
Get a big bowl of poutine.
Yeah, get me some poutine and a 5-hour energy.
Say it's a boot podcast time. I watched the movie. Had a lot of options. I'm way behind on movies.
Okay.
So there was tons of stuff out I wanted to see. Creed 2, Bohemian Rhapsody, bunch of stuff. Ended up settling on Green Book,
Green Book. Really?
which was nominated. I think it won
It
Best Picture
won,
for.
and it was getting slammed like it should not have won.
It didn't win Academy Awards for Best Picture, but it won a Golden Globe
No,
Best
it
Picture.
did.
No, I don't think so.
Yes, it did. Green Book.
It won?
Best Picture this year at the Academy. The
2019
90th
Best Picture winner. Green Book.
What did I tell you?
Well, that was another movie.
And it got slammed. It should not have won. That's what they say.
It was phenomenal.
You liked it a lot?
It was incredible.
Really? It didn't look like anything I would want to watch.
I didn't know anything about it.
Except for,
the namesake comes from the Green Book, is a book that they had whenever this movie took place, the 60s maybe.
Okay.
That was a guide for black people of what hotels they could stay in and what restaurants they could eat in, especially in the South.
Okay.
Where there was segregation.
Yeah.
This movie is incredible.
And like he's got a bodyguard. He's like this. Isn't he like a
the idea of
it
is he's like I can't remember the guy's name. Something Ali, right?
I don't know
the main guy, but anyway, he's like a black guy that's like a
musician,
like a genius pianist.
Okay.
And he goes on a tour, and he's in New York, and he like lives above Carnegie Hall and whatever, and he's got his own demons. But anyway, he wants to go on a tour of the Deep South.
Yeah. To
all these like basically rich people, and do concerts for them. But he needs a driver and kind of personal assistant / bodyguard type character. Mm-hmm. Enter this Italian mobster kind of guy, like blue collar. It's
Legolas.
It is. It's Viggo Mortensen in an unbelievably mind-blowing performance. Oh my god, he is so good in this movie.
He's a great actor.
He must have gained 100 pounds
of muscle or fat.
No, fat.
Really?
He's like a big old fat.
No way.
But I mean, he's like strong, but he's like got a huge gut. And I don't know if the other guy got nominated for all the Best Actor awards. I don't know if Viggo Mortensen got nominated for anything.
I don't know if they did.
But I'm telling you, like he was. I mean, everybody was good in it, but he should have been nominated for Best Actor. His character is Tony Lip.
Tony Lip, the Lip.
Yeah, it's Mahershala Ali, who was also was in Luke Cage. He's the bad guy in Luke Cage.
All right, I know who that is.
Anyway, the interplay between them two is incredible. Viggo Mortensen, what he does acting wise is insane. He should have won. If he didn't win any awards, it's a crime.
So what?
And he's basically the main actor. I mean, he should be. I don't know if he got like nominated for supporting actor, but he wasn't a supporting actor. He was like the main.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But what this sounds like is that I've done you a favor.
You kind of did, because I probably wouldn't have watched that movie otherwise.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Not only is the movie incredible for the acting and the performances and their relationship and the drama and everything involved with that, like the spotlight it puts on the racism at the time is incredible.
Okay.
Like,
I mean, do we need another movie that puts a spotlight on racism in the 60s?
I don't know, but this did a really good job of it. And like so much that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
And stuff that just makes you be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is insanity.
How it was ever possible that this was going
in a world that like this existed, and really made me like, honestly made me rethink everything. Not that I didn't believe any of that happened, but it puts it so much in your face,
right?
That it's hard to ignore, but not in like a political way, not in a preachy way, like in a depressing,
like humanity way, like just human.
It was. There's like scenes where he goes like, so this guy is like a world-renowned, world-class thing, and these big groups of really rich people in the South would have him come in, and they'd be like fawning all over him and stuff, and then he'd walk out, and they're super excited he's there, and blah blah blah. They've paid a ton of money to get him to come there and play, and then he's like, I need to use the bathroom. And they're like, you can't use that bathroom, and there's like a shack outhouse in the back. He's like, that's the bathroom for you. He's like, if I have to use that bathroom, I will be going back to my hotel, which is a half an hour each way. They're like, okay, we'll wait.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, this is a true story, by the way. I don't know if you know any of that. This is 100% a true story. And at the end, they do the whole thing like these guys remain friends their whole life. And this guy, I mean, Viggo Mortensen's character was super racist before he took this job.
Of course.
So a lot of it's like his journey. It's so good, man. Like, watch this movie.
All right, I will. I literally didn't want to watch it because of the whole race aspect. I just don't necessarily tend to watch those type of movies. And but I mean, with that review, it sounds pretty dang good.
I can't say enough good things about it. I wish I would have seen it in theaters.
Wow.
Like,
okay.
it was super, super good.
I hadn't even heard about it until I found out it was nominated for an award.
And there's some like big moments like that are pretty powerful.
Yeah.
In it. It's crazy. Like, there's this one time they get pulled over by the cops, and basically they get arrested because it's called a sunset town in the South, and black people can't be out past sunset. Whoa. So they get arrested and put in jail. It's crazy. Like, it's a crazy movie.
Okay, cool.
But it's also very like hopeful in a way, in some ways, like inspirational, because like what he was doing,
sure,
was groundbreaking.
What, both of them were, or just the musician?
What the musician was doing by doing that in the South at that time was inspirational and groundbreaking. But it's also about him, because like he doesn't fit in to the white community. Obviously, he doesn't fit into the black community because he's like rich and, you know, like doesn't relate. He's not normal.
Right. He's an anomaly.
He's a genius. You know what I mean? Anyway, I can't get into the ins and outs of race relations in the 60s, but this is a really good movie. So
I used to call myself a bit of an expert on that. But that was
probably shouldn't call yourself that.
No, you don't think so? Okay. So I guess I'll give that up.
All right, that's it. That's all of what you've been watching. The big, here we are.
Here we are. This is
what
where we talk
all
about
been waiting for.
Captain Marvel.
Our big review of Captain Marvel. So me and Dude and Jerry and Amy went on a double date.
Yeah, it was kind of a double date. A little bit.
To see this in a packed theater.
It was literally, I think every seat was taken.
So every seat was taken. We got to the theater a half an hour early, and the line was 4 deep down the side of the theater, around into the mall and around the corner. And Jerry had texted me, hey, save me a seat. I'm going to be late. Save me a seat. Me and Amy. Yeah. I'm like, how am I going to save you a seat? You can't barely get 2 seats together.
But we literally spoke about this prior to this. You're like, oh, it won't sell out. It's not going to sell out. Like, it won't be that packed.
It definitely sold. That's a good thing you get tickets ahead of time. In any case, so right as they were, I couldn't hardly believe that was the line. So I just walked up to ask if that was the line right when they started letting people in. And then they just took me and Dude's tickets. So we literally cut in front of about 50 people, and we're the first people in the theater. Got 4 seats directly center in the perfect spot.
It was awesome, because when I walked in, I was like, are you joking me? Right in the middle.
It fought people.
Yeah. Because then, him and Dude are sitting there waiting for us, and they have a seat on either side of them and are literally fighting off people. When I got there, they were throwing bows.
I had to push a guy.
He hit an old woman.
I did.
She was a Skrull, though.
Yeah. So anyway, we watched the movie. Are we going to do like a play-by-play? This is spoilers, guys.
Big time spoilers.
Big time spoilers coming up. So we're going to do like a little play-by-play on it, and then we're going to talk about what we liked and we didn't like, and then any other things. Okay.
I feel like you have a better like memory than I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think you're a little bit more like photo, like image memory guy.
Okay. Well, let's do this first. Give me your rundown, like what your initial thoughts are and your thoughts since you've had 2 or 3 days to process it.
So originally going into the movie, I was super excited, right?
I would say to take it with a grain, both of us were really, really excited for this movie.
Yeah, I was pumped for it. I mean, such is why I went on opening night. And I was excited because it's a different character. She's just so powerful.
Well, before we do that, what was your previous interactions with this character, knowledge of this character?
Not a huge. I have read some books. I have read some issues of Captain Marvel.
Are you talking a little bit pre or post Kelly Sue DeConnick?
No, during Kelly Sue DeConnick,
okay.
Like during her run, the whole Carol Danvers stuff.
So if people don't know, it was early 2010, so like maybe 2012 or something, or 10.
Something like that.
The book was relaunched previously the character was Miss Marvel,
Yes.
and it was kind of a relaunch. And
There was like 3 different characters that she actually was. It was like Miss Marvel. There was a single name, and then ended up being Captain Marvel. But
the book was relaunched and taken over by a writer named Kelly Sue DeConnick, and she is actually the wife of Matt Fraction. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know that.
No. To much acclaim, it was a huge runaway success. The book. This movie is almost 100% solely based off of her comic book run.
It is. It is completely based off of that, but they did take some liberties.
They took some liberties, but for the most part, the story is based off that, and they've thrown away all old incarnations of any sort of that character.
So anyway, I've read some of that. Once I found out a movie was coming out and it was getting closer, I did a little bit of digging, like research, backstory on the character. Other than that, I wouldn't say I'm well versed.
Okay.
So anyway, I was still excited about it coming out because of her and the character itself. I think it's a great character, and I'm really excited on how it's going to tie in with the next movie. Watching it, it starts out like any origin story would. The night of, I was into it. I was into every aspect of it.
So during, you enjoyed it. What was your reaction afterwards? What would you say overall, initially, your thoughts were after the movie? You don't have to expand. Just like what
slow.
Was your...
It's slow in the beginning.
Okay.
And then it picks up at the end, like you would assume it would. I feel like they needed to do a little bit better job of the flashback stuff.
Okay.
All of the flashback stuff, like learning her past. I think they could have done that a lot better and a little more seamless and quicker.
Okay.
Just took a long time to get information.
So, my backstory and history of that character is I didn't really know anything about that character.
Okay.
Until the mid-2000s, prior to the Kelly Sue DeConnick run. I did start reading and collecting Miss Marvel during Civil War. So I had a little familiarity, but I didn't really have any preconceived knowledge or research anything because I didn't want to know anything going into it for the most part. So, but I was also really excited. But was your excitement, kind of my excitement, I think, was mainly based on my feeling that it was going to be a prequel to Endgame.
Yes. And I would say, yes, that's part of my excitement. And because I'm just really excited to have a character in like Marvel that is like a Superman-ish type role.
Okay. We'll get to that later because that was one of my...
I think it's really cool.
It's one thing I didn't care for.
Oh.
So I will say it's not a prequel to Endgame in really in a significant way. It doesn't give away a lot. It doesn't give... I mean, other than the fact that you know she's now there and she's going to be a major player in that movie.
And it gives a good reason as to why you haven't seen her before.
It does.
You know, I like how they did that.
So initially during the movie, I thought it was definitely slow at times.
Yeah.
And we'll get more into that. But after the movie, I was kind of disappointed, to be honest. I wasn't a huge fan.
Yeah.
Upon retrospect, I think maybe I'd like it a little more after thinking more about it. Mm-hmm. Because I think I was just going in with really high expectations. And when you take those expectations away and judge it as the first origin movie,
yeah,
it does hold up better.
Okay. So that's what I was going to get at, is that I think I wasn't taking it as an origin story going into it, and then afterwards realizing it is literally just a plain old origin story of the character. I don't know what else. I don't know why I expected anything different.
Right.
You know, and then that was somewhat of a letdown that I was like, oh, okay. So I felt like, okay, well, we've just got to trudge through this, and then we're going to get to the good movies.
It did. It felt like, almost like required reading.
Yes, it did. It's like you have to have this in order to understand the character and what she's going to do coming up, and in any movie after that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and don't take that away. Don't take that as something like it's super bad. It's not. It's still good. I just wasn't prepared for it to be like that.
Right.
You know?
So my big thing was, it wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy, although we'll talk about that it tried to be at times. But when you judge it with like Thor, the first Thor movie, which I enjoyed a lot.
I like the second one's not good.
No. But as an origin, so the Thor origin.
Yeah.
It's in that realm, okay? Where would you put it in the MCU? As far as, would you don't have to put it exactly, but you don't have to rank it with a number, but would you put it in the top 10, middle of the pack, or somewhere at the end?
How many movies are even out right
22, I believe.
Oh, man. This is kind of on the spot. I didn't know I was going to have to do this. I would say it's probably not top. It's not top 10.
Oh, absolutely not.
No, this is my opinion, Christopher. I would say it's not top 10 in my book because of like I said, it's like or you said really, the required reading part. It just felt like that to me, and it's super cut and dry.
It's very by the numbers.
Yeah, you could have easily told the story so much faster and probably better had you just told us the story.
Right.
Rather than jump around and cut a scene here and cut scenes there. And
I also kind of felt like we didn't really need another origin movie. I thought we were done with origin stories. I understand that you have to tell the origin of the character, but again, do you? Do you really need to anymore?
Especially in her case, like I said, you could tell the beginning part of her story in the first 10 minutes of the movie. To be honest, like you could be like, hey, she's a pilot. She got fucked up, and like now they take her to outer space with the Kree.
I totally get it from the fact that they wanted to have a franchise-based movie based off a female character.
Yeah.
And I think they needed to do that. And
I agree. And
I'm glad they did. But this could have easily been a situation like a Black Panther where Black Panther's in at least one movie before
Civil War is the only one he's in.
So he's in Civil War, and then they did the origin. They could have done that.
Yeah.
And they maybe should have.
I think it would. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Either way, like don't do it that way. Like don't do the origin that way. I just don't think. But who am I? I'm not Kevin Feige, so he thinks he knows what he's doing.
So do you want to do a play-by-play?
If you would like.
Okay.
Go for it, and then I will give you my opinions on each scene you're talking about.
Well, I don't know that I've broken down that much, but the movie begins the best way we've seen any Marvel movie begin to this point of all time. One that came to applause in our theater.
Yeah, people were cheering.
Clapping, cheering. They have an incredible opening Marvel montage.
Yep. The Marvel banner that normally has like comic book pages flipping is all Stan Lee cameos.
100% Stan Lee. It's the best part of the movie, in my opinion.
Well, I don't know if it's. I think there's others that are better.
It was really, really powerful, though.
Yeah, it is very powerful.
Especially in a full movie theater.
Absolutely.
When everybody comes to applause and cheering.
Yes.
If you're seeing it 2 weeks from now, and there's 5 people in the theater, and nobody's clapping,
it won't be the same effect.
It won't be the same effect.
No.
But in that theater, at that time, it was moving, and it was powerful.
Yes, I agree.
And it was just plain cool to see.
Right.
And I thought that was so cool that they did that. I'm glad they did that. And they didn't have to.
No, they didn't have to. And he has a cameo in it. And
we'll get to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying, like, they could have just left it at that. You know, I mean, like, he's going to have a cameo, and then at the end of the movie, like, say something, like, in loving memory of Stan Lee. But they didn't. They did a whole montage of him in the beginning, which is awesome.
So they start the movie off. Remind me, did they start the movie off on Kree?
Yes.
Or not Kree, but the Kree homeworld.
Oh, why can't I think of it now?
It starts with an H. I can't remember. But anyway.
Yeah.
And they don't really give her backstory. She's just kind of a training soldier type person. They hint at some powers.
Mm-hmm.
and they don't give a lot of backstory on that, but they kind of introduce the whole concept of the Kree Skrull War.
Yes.
We've seen the Kree before.
And she is a Kree, part of the Kree.
Right. We've seen Kree before, mainly in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know that we've seen them in the Marvel Cinematic Universe before.
That's about the only place you have not seen them in a movie.
No, and I believe the same goes with Skrulls. We've seen them in the Marvel in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But in any case, they kind of set up the war that's going on, and basically they go on a mission.
Mm-hmm. Well, she finally passes her training, talks to the Supreme One or something.
Supreme Intelligence.
The Supreme Intelligence. The
Kree is ran by a super intelligent AI.
Yes. And everyone sees somebody different in this AI, somebody that's important to them, basically.
Yeah, this will come to one of my points later. But you see, it's all in your own head, basically. You interface with a computer, and it takes the form of your imagination, essentially.
Yep.
That's really hard to explain. But
she does that, talks to them, realizes she's ready. During her training, they keep telling her to control her plasma shooter hands. I don't know how else better to explain that.
Right.
So she needs to control that. Don't run off emotion. She finally goes with this crew,
led by Jude Law.
Yep. What's his name in the movie?
Don't know.
Starts with a V.
See, it's always bad in movies when you can never remember anybody's name.
Yeah, and he's a really big part in the comic books too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he is. Because he's the one who trained her, and they have a somewhat, not a romantic relationship, but they have a relationship as in
kind of romantic relationship,
father-daughter.
Really?
More so.
I definitely got a romantic vibe.
Really? Oh. Well,
anyway,
I got
mentor-mentee type situation.
And so anyway, yeah, he's in the lead of the team. They go out because there's Skrulls around on this one planet, but they're trying to save a guy who's been an operative out in the field, and you just see their operation.
That part's really cool. I think it starts off really well as far as that all goes. Then it gets into basically her having flashbacks of kind of her segmented memories of the past.
Yep.
And essentially what you come to find out is she's from Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And she was an Air Force test pilot. And
yep.
I don't know. There's so much to go through. We're going to really do step by step through this whole movie.
No, we could go faster. She was a test pilot. The woman that was in charge of her team, her and this other lady, was a woman. In the comic books, it's a man.
Right.
And it goes
that was a big point of controversy, but
Walter
stupid.
Walter Lawson instead of whatever her name is, something Lawson.
Yeah.
Dr. Lawson. But she ends up being a Kree.
Yeah, she's a Kree. Undercover
Kree, testing out things. Again, in the comic book, it was testing out basically how to defeat the Skrull, and then he decides to stay on Earth and fight for the humans, and that he was called Marvel. His name was Marvel, and it was Captain Marvel. It wasn't actually Captain Marvel, but it's MAR-VELL.
Right.
So she was similar to that, but you find out she's a Kree, and then Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, figures that out. But it takes so long for that to happen.
It does.
That's the annoying part.
Yeah.
I wish they could have got into it a little bit more, and you see her as her actually using her powers.
And you're also never really bought in.
No, you're not. And so she gets these powers.
So that makes it hard later on in the movie to have any sort of a payoff.
Yep.
Because you're never bought into any of that. And then also, you never get the impression that she's overcome anything. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's a sticking point, because there is an underlying current in this movie, which I think it's done really well at times, and it's over the top at times, of her living her life and being told that as a woman, she can't do this, she can't do that, she's not good enough, she's not strong enough. This was a big thing in the comic book.
Right.
The comic book was kind of thought to be a very feminist, empowering book, and it was, and that's why it got so much praise. They tried to do that in this movie, and it really, really works well sometimes, and sometimes it falls a little bit over the top, flat.
Unnecessary. Yeah, there's certain points of it that are unnecessary to do.
But anyway, without getting too much more, I knew this is spoilerific, but there are a couple big twists and turns that come to pass.
Yes.
On who the real villains is. There's some classic villain switching.
Yeah, there's a classic swap.
But she crashes down to Earth basically and teams up with a basically beat agent Nick Fury.
Yeah, brand new guy.
And Agent Coulson to an extent.
Agent Coulson, Agent Fury, brand new in the whole shield.
And the Skrulls have now infiltrated Earth. The Skrulls are shapeshifters, so they're able to take the form of anybody. That's why they're so difficult. So that kind of becomes the main thread that runs throughout the movie, but there is some pretty big twists and turns. And then of course, third act, it ends, they explain how she gets her powers, and then it ends with her realizing her power and overcoming whatever she needs to overcome.
Really realizing, how powerful she is.
And at the end, boy, did they show that off.
They do. They get after it. I like that though.
The ending in the very, very end was okay. There were a couple things in the middle there that were just, that fight scene between her and Jude Law.
Yeah.
That was just, it could have been so much better.
Which one? They fought a bunch.
The one on the spaceship.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, at that point, she's still realizing her power.
Yeah.
And yeah, it could have been a lot better. I mean, even the end one could have been better, but it was funny.
Well, let me tell you, I don't think we're going to do more of the play-by-play. Let me tell you what I thought were the best parts of the movie.
Okay.
Ben Mendelsohn plays Talos, which is one of the Skrulls.
Ben Mendelsohn, do I know?
He's the main Skrull guy.
Yeah.
He, I thought, stole the show.
It's very good.
Was phenomenal, funny,
he reminds
heartfelt, believable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super good.
Reminds me of Joel Edgerton in Bright.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And I will say, I did not see that twist coming.
I didn't either. And they don't really do that in the books, in the comic books.
That twist comes, and it did shock me. And
yes.
at first you're like, what are they doing here? Mm-hmm. And then
that's like literally what I thought in my head as this was transitioning.
Yeah. And then it ends up really working.
It did. I bought into that part.
That leads me to my second best part of the movie. That twist with the Skrulls is the best part of the movie, because you definitely don't see it coming.
Right.
And it changes the direction of the movie.
And it makes me like her like leader, the Lawson scientist lady. That was Marvell. That's her name. It makes me like her a lot better because of what like her job was. Basically, her undercover job as a Kree was on the planet.
Yeah,
and it ties Brie Larson as Captain Marvel to the Skrulls because of what happened to her. Because it was based off of what Lawson was doing. She gets affected by it, and then it comes full circle with the Skrulls again.
Yeah,
I like that.
I loved the flipping of the bad guys. So who you think is the bad guys by the mid-movie aren't the bad guys, and other people are the bad guys. I like that. It's always good.
Yeah, that right there made me think about it just the other day. That we've talked about it so much. Like, in our comic book that we're writing, do the tropes.
Yeah.
Because they still work.
They did.
How many times has that been done where you flip script,
I mean, I can't tell you how many times it's been done in Marvel movies.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I don't hate it. I like it.
Yeah.
And it works. It does its job, and it's something we should look into.
The next thing I put the Stanley beginning, probably my favorite part of the movie is Stan Lee's cameo.
I agree. Once I figured out later on what it was, because I didn't catch it during the movie.
This movie is set in the 90s, 95 to be exact. Yep. And at one point, Brie Larson gets on a bus, and it's the Stan Lee cameo. He's sitting there, and he is holding a script from Mallrats.
Yeah.
For all you don't know, Mallrats is a movie from 1995, written by Kevin Smith, directed by Kevin Smith, and it was Stan Lee's, I believe, first movie.
Was it?
That he had lines in, at least.
Okay. I didn't know that.
And he's rehearsing his lines, and you can see the script that says Mallrats on it.
True believer.
I thought that was incredible. As a Kevin Smith fan, I'm sure a lot of people didn't grasp that.
And Kevin Smith put out a post later of him weeping and saying, like, wow, like, I can't believe that I exist in Marvel.
But let's think about it this way, okay? What are the implications of that?
It absolutely means that Kevin Smith movies and all of his characters and stuff exist in that world.
But in Kevin Smith's movie, Stan Lee is Stan Lee, the creator of Marvel Comics. So Marvel Comics exists in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
And that totally makes sense because it is said, or at least implied, that there is a Marvel Comics and there are comic books of all these characters.
Really?
Yes, because
When did
Agent
they do
Coulson has trading cards. Well, that's different. Never mind. They do imply it somewhere, and I can't remember. Well, they do it in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, for sure. That's a big part of that.
Okay.
And I believe there's some other mentions of it, but so I think that's just kind of a cool twist because those superheroes can exist and comic books of them can exist.
Yeah, that would be really cool. That's kind of like Umbrella Squad because they
yeah,
have a
it is.
book.
It is kind of like that. So that was really cool. One of my favorite and maybe one of the best parts of that movie is Nick Fury.
Sam Jackson. So this dude, another article I read on Reddit was about him, and it said with him being in over 200 movies, he's never like phoned it in.
Nope.
Like take in any of his movies and look at any of his roles. Whatever role it is, he's never had like a big like main character role, but in many movies anyway. But you look at any of his roles, and he's always perfect. He's doing Sam Jackson, which is all you need from him, and that's what he does very, very well in every single show he's ever been in. I mean, Pulp Fiction is obviously like an iconic role of his, but there's a movie, Black Snake Moan.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
He's an incredible character in that. Django Unchained, he's an incredible character in that.
Snakes on a Plane?
Of course.
He
didn't even phone that in, though.
I've never seen it.
You can come into a movie and realize how ridiculous it is and be like, all right, whatever. They're going to pay me. Let's just get this over with. He doesn't do that. And in this movie, they made him look like Sam Jackson of 1995.
And boy, they did a good job. The digital aging is incredible on him. It's pretty seamless.
It doesn't look like it's digital at all.
No.
It looks like they just cut his hair.
They de-age Agent Coulson, and you can tell.
You can.
And it's a little... You could just tell slightly that something's off.
I don't think it's bad.
It's not bad, but I'm just saying. And he is also great in that movie for the little bit he's in it. But Sam Jackson's got a meaty role, probably his meatiest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Nick Fury.
Yeah.
He's a main character, really, of it. It's kind of almost an origin story of him as well.
I would agree. It is.
And
I love that part. I love his part.
It's great. I like the daughter. Monica, I think is her name. I think that the daughter of her friend.
Yeah.
I think that they have a good relationship you can tell there's a relationship there between her and Brie Larson.
Yep.
And I think there's implications for that girl later on in the MCU. And I've read some spoilers that she's going to be a character.
Yes.
At some point. And I really liked somewhere in the middle of that movie, and I couldn't tell you where, but there's a pretty good montage scene where it's her throughout her life being told that she can't do something because she's a girl or a woman. And they did that scene very well, and it was powerful.
Yeah, I agree. But when she was joining the military and you can't do this, you can't do that.
Because they do it twice. They do it the first time, but they never show you what happens.
And they were showing her fail.
They show her failing over and over again. And then they do it the second time showing her getting up.
Yeah.
And reading now about that character, that's a big part of that character is like failing and then getting up. And that scene just, I think maybe, I don't know if it's as a father of a daughter.
Probably.
Or whatever it was. I thought it was powerful. It was good.
Yeah. You have a lot more emotional connection to...
I mean, that was one of the things Dude said
when
he got out of that. He's like, I'm super excited to show this to my daughter.
Yeah.
And
I could see that. For sure.
Some of was there parts that you liked specifically?
I absolutely like that. I guess I couldn't pinpoint parts of it, but it's the whole montage that they do well. That's about the only thing I think they do well with that. The rest of it is always...
It's a little over the top.
So on the nose.
I just meant in the movie in general. What were your favorite parts or any that I hadn't mentioned?
Okay, let me think here. I like the end when she's getting all like Captain Marvel, actual Captain Marvel-y, because you haven't seen any of her power up to this point. It's I think a good description of like showing that she can fly with this stuff, not just shoot stuff out of her hands. She has so much more capability than what you'd ever seen before, and it was pretty easy to figure out right off the bat. But, and I guess it's not one of my favorites because it was so easy to figure out. Like they hold back her power with that thing on her neck.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why you needed to do that, and why wouldn't she have pulled that off?
Yeah, that was dumb. I never thought about that, but that was dumb.
I don't know why you wouldn't. Like she felt it. She knew it was there.
It was cool though, that one scene where she had the handcuff things on that.
Yes.
And then she blows them off finally.
Yeah.
That whole scene was really good. There's some good action in that scene. That was pretty cool.
And I do like it when she's realizing her power and all these guys are coming around her and she's fighting people and she's like so relaxed. Like, oh crap. Like,
yeah.
I am so much better than you guys right now.
I forgot about that. That was cool.
She realizes what she could do and she's like, this is stupid. Like, let's get this moving.
I actually really also liked her costume. And like her suit and like how
it's part of her.
And how they'd have the thing come over her face, like the flight suit. And then it was like based off a flight suit. There's been a lot of people say they didn't like the costume.
Oh, no. Like I had always heard positive stuff about the suit because it's exactly what Kelly Sue DeConnick did in the comic books when she changed things on how it is a flight suit. It connects to her. She can flip up the helmet and get the mohawk.
Yeah.
They were worried that she wouldn't have the like iconic Captain Marvel mohawk that they put on him.
And she does, and it looks awesome.
And she does, yes. And it does look awesome. She looks badass in it.
They have a great gag where they change the colors of the suit.
I was just going to say, I think that's one of the best parts.
That's really good.
There's
a lot of good humor in
when the little
movie.
girl's changing the costume colors for her. Because I was worried, I was wondering how they were going to do it. I was like, wait a minute, like, is she going to have some suit manufacturer on Earth now? Or, like, is Sam Jackson going to pull something out of his butt and get a suit for her from somewhere that they found from aliens? I didn't know what they were going to do. And then it was something just as simple as, I can change the color of my suit, and you can do it with your fingers, and it will be fun.
Right.
And I liked that. I liked how they could do it that easily because at least... then you immediately get the change, and it doesn't have to be some other big story about how she got it.
That leads into another thing I guess I didn't mention, but a great part. It is pretty funny. Like, it's a pretty lighthearted, funny movie.
Yep.
At times. There's lots of good bits in it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some exactly.
There's a ton. I mean, Sam Jackson, he's funny.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
Through the whole thing.
He's really funny. There's a great bit with Agent Coulson where he radios him. He's like, did you leave me here?
Yeah. And there's a Skrull in the car with him. The cat. Sam Jackson's demeanor with the cat, I think, is hilarious. Once you see what the cat is, again, this is all spoilers.
Honestly, I did not even understand most of that. But
no, I don't
his
either.
demeanor with the cat is funny.
Yeah, once you find out that it's like this big monstery thing.
There's some backstory that I don't know.
I'm not sure either. Apparently, it's in the universe.
Okay. Well, anyway, it is a funny movie. I'd like to see it again just to appreciate it on that level.
Yeah, but the only time I'm going to see this again probably is going to be a Sunday afternoon when I got nothing to do.
It's not eminently rewatchable.
Like right around nap time.
Like I said, it was a pretty by the numbers movie. It's just one of those, you've seen it once, you've seen it.
And so I'm going to call out one of the listeners. Sorry, bud. I won't say your name to keep anonymity, but you're going to know who you are if you're listening to this. I got a Facebook message from someone that listens to the show about Captain Marvel the night he went and saw it, because he had went Thursday night and said, he said, you better make room in your top 5 Marvel movies. He's like, because one of them's going to have to come down for this one.
I don't know. I think he was watching a different movie than me.
I'm not sure if you're caught up on Marvel. I'm glad you like it, and I do think it's a very good movie. But we said earlier, like, it's not cracking the top 10, bud.
You know, it was really funny. Okay, if you compare this to, say, an origin movie, so if you, and I've always been a little critical of Black Panther.
Yeah.
Okay, but you put this next to Black Panther, Black Panther is
way better.
Way better.
And yeah, it really is. Obviously, Iron Man's way better. I like the original Thor.
Loved the original Thor.
The first.
I'd have to rewatch it. It's been so long since I've seen it.
The first Guardians movie. I mean, if you can make a cast of characters like that, one of the best movies that Marvel has ever put out, and nobody knew them characters, you could have done a lot better with Captain Marvel, I think.
I mean, it's better than the Incredible Hulk.
Sure, it is.
It's better than some other stuff. I honestly.
I mean, Doctor Strange is better than this movie.
But yeah,
you know, that's an origin though.
I would put this towards the back of the pack in the Marvel movies,
and especially when you come to origins, it's
Ant-Man was a better movie, I think. Different movie though, not similar.
Ant-Man's different. Ant-Man's a different movie altogether, and I'm excited about him coming into Endgame.
Yeah, so I can say some things I didn't care for in the movie.
Go for it.
The whole situation with Nick Fury's eye being a result of that cat.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Horrible.
Doesn't make any sense. No possible way you've lost your eye for that and are going to wear an eye patch the rest of the time.
Not only that, but it's a plot hole because there's been previous movies where he discusses how he lost his eye. I think there's a pretty intense scene in Avengers or Civil War or something. No, it's in Winter Soldier, I think, when he lifts up his eye patch and he says something along the lines of, the last guy that did this to me got what was coming to him or something like that.
Okay.
And it just doesn't make sense when now they got this weird, almost like tongue-in-cheek
It is. It's
thing.
Dumb. And it completely unnecessary to the movie.
Completely.
Like,
and they
do you really need to tell us how he lost his eye in this film?
Well, and they keep hinting at it. They hinted at it earlier in that movie when something else happens to his eye, and they're like, "Oh, this is the time."
Yeah,
and then later on, something else happens. They're like, "Oh, no, this is the time." And then you're like,
"Why do
finally
we care
you
that
resign
much?
yourself to the fact that like, oh, it was a gag. None of those were actually the time until they finally reveal at the end
with the cat, and he starts wearing a.
They bring out the fake. Oh man, I didn't like that.
Yeah, and the eyeballs. Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
I forgot about that. So stupid.
I will say I'm going to hold my biggest dislike till the end. So I think one thing I didn't care for was this movie lacked any real emotional weight.
Yeah.
There's no loss. There's nothing that she overcomes.
They don't hint at her parents at all because they're just like, oh, she had a bad relationship with her parents, and then they're just like gone.
And then there's nothing that she overcomes, and then it's just like, boom, there's an explosion. Oh, boom, you have powers.
Well, she's overcoming the fact that she was mind controlled, and they had held back her powers. She overcomes that, but in a way that really is of no meaning.
Maybe they needed to do something more with that. I just didn't like the fact that it's like, now just a random explosion gives you powers, and now all of a sudden you're super powerful. The end, like. Nothing to overcome here.
Yeah,
I thought that it didn't look 90s. They were trying too hard to make it 90s.
Yeah, it didn't. It wasn't very good with the 90s.
Didn't look 90s. I mean, you can't throw a Blockbuster video in and just think that looks 90s. It just didn't look 90s to me, and they tried to shove it in your face. Like, here's a Blockbuster video. Here's a 9 Inch Nails t-shirt. Here's a this. Here's a that. Yeah. And you're like, you guys are trying too hard here.
Flannel. Better wear this flannel around your waist.
They make comments about flannel being worn around a waist.
Yeah.
They tried too hard at that.
One good Easter egg I just thought of because we were talking about flannels. When she comes off of the subway, the first person she runs into when she gets off the train, she like runs into this lady, and it's Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so she's in the movie and gives her like looks her up and down like, what the hell are you doing?
One thing I did hear people were talking about was there's a scene where she steals a motorcycle.
Yes.
And the guy's like says something really like, oh, come on, honey, give me a smile.
Yeah.
Which is like, people hate that.
Yes.
All right. But they make it almost seem like it's like, okay, this isn't the 1970s.
Right.
It's the 1990s.
People didn't do that.
Well, I'm sure they did.
Maybe
we're not the people that should be. We probably shouldn't even be commenting on it. But whatever. My point is, they tried too hard to be 90s. We're gonna leave the politics out of it. There is a fight scene that's kind of a climactic fight scene in this movie that could be really good. It's up on that ship with Jude Law.
Yes.
And they are building up to it, and you feel the weight of the gravity of this situation. And then as soon as the fight breaks out, they break into I'm Just a Girl by No Doubt.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
So first of all, it's completely over the top and obvious.
Out of place.
And, you just get that feeling like if they ever scored any emotional points about this is a female overcoming, this is a female powered, they're like, the fact that you built it all up to that and then play I'm Just a Girl while she's kicking a guy's ass just seemed like too much.
Really sets you back.
Trying
on that, I think.
too hard.
I agree. I forgot that they played that music.
And not only that, but not only that, but they took a fight scene and it was boring. Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't a good fight scene. It didn't end up to be really that good of a fight scene. It's just so clear that they tried to be Guardians of the Galaxy, especially in that moment, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
It fell flat.
I agree with you in the space world that they're in. They do try to do a little Guardians of the Galaxy
and
stuff.
It's clear with the music that they're trying to do that. And then in that fight scene, they're like, okay, we're going to build up they do that in Guardians of the Galaxy. They build a fight scene, then they play like a poppy fun song, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the right tone going into it. And then it was I love No Doubt. I love that song. It just didn't fit. And it just felt like it was just an eye roll moment. Like, ugh.
Yeah. I agree with you. I do.
And that gets me to my least favorite part of the movie. And that is Brie Larson.
Oh, no.
I don't know whether it was a choice on her part to play the character hollow, empty, and emotionless. I mean, with barely a hint of any personality whatsoever.
Yes.
And I don't know if that was a choice or if that was I just don't know if it was intentional or it was bad acting.
Okay, so here's my take on some of that. I do believe that. So I think she was, an emotional human being prior to the accident. But do you remember how they were talking about that what am I trying to say? Like transplanted her blood?
Yeah.
Transfusion. They fused in Kree blood with her. And the way I took that, because I picked up on that too, how she has no emotion and she comes back and visits these people, and her best friend is like, you just left us. Like you were gone. Like we thought you were dead. Nobody told us what happened to you. Your whole body just disappears and nobody knows what happened. And then we're left with that. And she's just like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
I think it's something with like that alien blood, though.
Or maybe just not remembering anything.
Yeah, maybe that too, because she doesn't really remember very well.
She just seems cold and distant, and like half the time it's just like her staring off into the distance with I think, no expression on her face.
I think they used that. This is just me probably overthinking it, but I think they tried to differentiate her from a human being in that tone, like of being cold and kind of like soldierish.
Yeah, could be. If it was a choice, I don't think it was the right choice. If it was bad acting, I'd have never seen her act in anything else.
Except for Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, yeah.
She was the singer that was a past girlfriend of Scott's.
Well, I just feel like there could have been a lot of people that could have played that role better.
I would agree with you. I don't think she is the best in that role. Like, she's no, like, I'm not going to get into that, but I think Gal Gadot or Gadot of Wonder Woman,
perfect example,
is phenomenal.
Blows it out of the water as Wonder Woman, and has so much personality, and you just disappear into that character when she's playing it.
You know she's foreign. You know she's from a different land. She has absolute emotion, and she's a badass.
Yep.
You know, and then she doesn't use that. She's not over the top badass. She only does it when she knows she's got to achieve something.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like to save someone. There is a reason for her to do that.
I wanted to hesitate to directly comparing this movie, getting into that space and be like, let's compare it against Wonder Woman.
And I'm not
because those are
do
two
that.
women movies.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
But if you are going to compare those movies, I mean, the first half of Wonder Woman is 100 times the movie this is.
Yes.
And this is probably better than the second half of Wonder Woman.
Agreed.
So
yeah, the ending of Wonder Woman, not as good as the ending of Captain Marvel.
But Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is, you know, as an acting performance, so much better.
You can't find a better Wonder Woman on at this point, I don't think.
Yeah.
Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, I think.
I hope they give her more to work with. I mean, stone-faced and emotionless. I just don't understand the choice there.
Yeah, I see it. You'll definitely notice that too when you watch the movie.
I don't know where we are in time. I got a lot more to go.
We're at 2 hours.
Okay. Well, we're not even close to done. So,
okay.
I got some other things that kind of bugged me, but aren't a big deal.
All right.
The ending, the spoiler ending where he is naming the Avengers like the Protectors Initiative.
Yeah.
And then he looks at a picture and sees that her call sign was Avenger.
Yep.
So he changed it to the Avengers Initiative. That is giving... Does she have the right to be what the Avengers is named after based off of this movie? Captain America, the first Avenger. I mean, you're talking about... I just feel like they
I don't know.
made her... Like, that just takes that character and is like, it's all because of her. Everything's based on her.
I mean, we're going to have to see what happens in Endgame to really understand what her power is. You know what I mean? Like, in how... I think she's like a super massive character. I think she's going to be.
And this is
why they're building... This is why they're saying, like, look at this. Like, this is what it is going to be. I don't think they did it well in the first movie. Like, you don't see her as the epitome of all superheroes.
Well, I will say,
Especially
that's another
the
thing that
Avengers.
bugged me. She seems way too powerful. Way too powerful. She looks in this movie to be more powerful than Thanos with all of the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, I agree.
And she essentially has the power from the Tesseract.
Yeah.
Which is the space stone.
Yeah.
All right. The space. Oops, he's still there?
Yeah.
The space zone, which grants the powers to, like, if I believe correctly, like teleport and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But somehow in her it manifests as what should be probably the Power Stone. My point is, it seems like at this point she's more powerful than Thanos, other than the fact that he can blink humanity, half of the world out of existence. But in a fight, you know...
Well, I think we're going to see that. It
seems like they gave her too much power.
I don't know.
Because at the end of this movie, it's clear that she has a hell of a lot of power.
Yeah, it's very clear. I personally like that about it. Obviously, they're not going to write it as like she just swoops in and murders Thanos. There's going to be something else going on here. He does have all the Infinity Stones. So he can make reality what he wants it at this point. He can make space and time what he wants it.
Right.
It's really hard to sneak up on him at this point because he literally can control everything around him.
Right.
So I don't know how you can be more powerful than that right now without having some sort of element of surprise.
Well, maybe they needed that to bridge because they thought they made Thanos too powerful.
Yeah.
Maybe they needed that.
Because unless you are absolutely able to sneak up on him, if he knows you're coming,
I mean, there's a
That's
lot of
hard
loopholes
fight.
with Thanos because
Yeah, there
shrink
is.
Ant-Man down to the size of a molecule and have him fly in his ear and then get big again.
I get it. But yeah, and then turn into like giant.
But they can't do that because they did that in DC with the Atom.
With the Atom. Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah, and Darkseid.
And that's like Kevin Smith's like single favorite line in a comic book.
So another little thing that kind of bugged me with it. There's a moment where he says, there's a moment in the Avengers, I believe, or Thor, maybe the first Thor, when Nick Fury makes it clear that they did not know that there were extraterrestrials.
Yes.
And he says, he forms the Avengers because they're not prepared for that threat.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he directly says that he did not know that he says specifically that Thor was the first time they knew there was extraterrestrial life.
Oh, well, that's false.
But he is known to lie. He's a spy.
True.
But in this movie, it's clear about a decade before that,
he did not know this.
And he brings up the fact that they need to start preparing.
Yeah.
So that makes you think that in the 10 to 15 years, nothing was prepared.
Right.
Makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
What bugged me too is the score was very boring musically.
Mm-hmm.
The 90s music was fine, but it just seemed out of place in the movie.
They could have had a lot better 90s music speckled within that movie that could have made it better.
It just felt out of place for the tone of the movie. Also, she went missing, I believe, in 1989.
Yes.
And in the finale, when she interacts with the Supreme Intelligence and they build a world inside of her memories, Nirvana's playing. A Nirvana song that came out in 1991.
Oh.
She would not have been on Earth
Mm-hmm.
to listen to that song.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You
catch on
that's
to
a
so
dumb
much.
Thing. The plane that they make at the end in about 10 seconds to fly into outer space and do battle with galactic starships.
Well,
I understand that it was a Kree engineer that upgraded. I can upgrade that, and then in the space of like an hour, he upgrades
it, and then it kind of appears out of nowhere when they were at the house with her friend. They're like talking to her, and they show the outside of the house, and then the next time they show the outside of the house, the ship's just sitting there.
No, they flew the ship there. Because remember the neighbor stopped by?
I know, but it was like, they said it was like out in the street.
Oh, yeah.
And there's this big grass lot, and there's nothing there. And then they show outside again, and it's sitting next to the house in the grass lot.
Yeah.
Continuity.
There was
continuity.
Yeah, there's some plot holes in this movie. I will say it doesn't matter what I say or what you say, because Captain Marvel has made over $500 million
opening
to date.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
It's done very, very well for itself. And rightfully so. It is still a very good Marvel movie.
Yeah.
All of you guys will probably like it when you go and see it. And you'll probably say, like, you guys are idiots. I think it's really good.
I liked it better upon reflection. My initial reaction after the movie was that it was slow, that it was very boring at times, and the ending, the third act, was not great.
I had some issues in the middle of it where it was like really hard for me to stay awake. Yeah. No joke.
And the third act is very formulaic and not by the Jude Law's character was boring and
it is. He could have had a much bigger role.
Not good. I mean, he wasn't great in that movie.
I mean, he had a big role, but didn't have much to chew on. You know what I mean?
He's essentially a bad villain, really.
Yeah.
Marvel getting back to the bad villains.
Yep.
They don't do them well most of the time.
They don't. Except for coming up in Spider-Man.
When I got out of that movie, I was a little dumbfounded to see the just overwhelmingly good reviews.
Yeah, it was all positive. 100%.
And I don't know that I felt that they were justified.
I agree.
But who am I?
Yeah. I don't want to be super hard on it, but it's not in my top 10, so
I feel like if you missed it in theaters, I wouldn't sweat it.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, see it at home. You're not going to see it.
I mean, if you're listening to this at this point, you've probably already seen it.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Good point.
So that's it. That's all I got on Captain Marvel.
Okay. I mean, that's all I got with it, really.
Thanks for sticking with us, guys.
That was a trek into the world of Kevin
discussion.
Or Kevin. I was going to say Kevin Marvel. Captain Marvel.
I just can't wait for Endgame.
This sets it up to where I cannot wait for it.
I think my problem with this movie was I wanted it to be Endgame so bad.
Yes. I agree.
When it wasn't, I was a little like,
if it was further away from
almost
Endgame,
frustrated me.
like last year, further away,
I wouldn't even bother me.
Yeah, it wouldn't have bothered me either. But you're right. I want Endgame to happen so bad right now that I can't. And we've still got Shazam in between.
And they didn't really reveal
Gonna have to
anything towards it. There's a post-credit scene.
That's good.
Yeah,
I like it.
There's some extra footage that has come out from the Endgame trailer that wasn't put in the trailer, but it was played to a private viewing audience for something.
Oh.
And they show Nebula with Captain America in that similar kind of scene as that. And Nebula was left on the planet with Tony Stark.
Uh-huh.
So...
That's true.
I mean, we've seen Tony Stark on that
Tony
spaceship.
Stark's in a ship, I thought.
But,
I thought he was floating alone.
Yeah, but we don't know
what
time in the movie and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
But it's early on in the movie because Captain America still has a beard and they show him clean shaven later in the trailer.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Oh, gosh, I can't wait for that. Again, there's Shazam in between. That's a DC property. Not super excited about it, but I'm going to see it. It should be fun.
Think that looks good. I mean, I'm not clamoring for it.
No.
I like Zachary Levi.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. I'm curious about it.
I am too.
I don't know if
it'll be a fun.
I don't know if I'm
movie.
curious enough to see it in the movie theater, but I probably will.
I probably will too.
That seems like a good one to bring kids to.
Yeah, it's something to go to, and it's going to be a fun movie, I think. It's going to be DC's first fun movie.
We'll see.
Although Aquaman was kind of fun, but it still gets dark.
Didn't see it.
You should. You should see it. So, that's all I got for this week, man.
All right, guys.
You done?
I'm done.
I'm done.
See you next time. Let us know what you want us to talk about next week. We don't have any topics on the docket, so.
Truth. We don't.
All righty.
We kind of fly by the seat of the pants.
Yeah.
All right.
See ya.